Welcome everyone. It is time. Global Girth Initiative keynote. Those would be the opening words of my stream. Thank you all for setting that as the channel status. This is very important. Welcome everyone. Today, it has been a while. I've had a lot of real life stuff going on, and I said that last time, didn't I? Well, it continued to go on, but I think it is probably now concluded. Welcome. I have a lot to catch up on, a lot of news stories. Let us begin with finding something interesting. People on Twitter will really be like, you believe in voting? That pales in effectiveness to my strategy. Firebombing a Walmart, and then not firebomb a Walmart. I do find a certain hypocrisy in people that say that there is no political solution, and yet are not murdering politicians. Now, I'm not advocating the murder of politicians. Do not crime. What I'm saying is, it is hypocritical of them to believe that great and irredeemable evils are being done by politicians, and that there's no way to solve it peacefully, and yet to not be murdering them. And, you know, on the one hand, you can say self-preservation, and I can say, yeah, it's cowardice. It's both. If you want to say that, you maybe even a little bit of cowardice, but still, would you, if you saw a young girl being raped right in front of you by a politician or by someone, would you try and stop him? Would you use physical force? Oh, you would? Prove it. See, I believe there's still a peaceful solution. If at some point I don't, if at some point I drop that, then I think I'll be willing to concede that yes, an amount of cowardice is involved in me not rising up against the state. But you gotta pick one. Realistically, you gotta pick one. Anyway, next thing. Yes. May the Lord, Elon Musk, bless us all with the majesty of this. Hello, in the interest of transparency, we are writing to inform you that X has received a blocking order from the Indian Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, citing etc., blah, blah, blah. you have been cut off from India across the entirety of X/Twitter. This guy says, Dale unlocked the Ultra Platinum Diamond Tier X plan. Did I see something where on Twitter you can now choose which nations you can see content from? I think that's only available in some places, because I checked my Twitter and it's not there. But I think some people are allowed to do that. Sounds like a reward, exactly. Like, to be very clear here, like, Twitter is being very reasonable here. They're saying, like, you're not in trouble, we're just letting you know for the sake of transparency. We didn't have to tell you. Old Twitter wouldn't have fucking told you, but we're telling you for the sake of transparency. It's good. I approve. I did one of the clips I uploaded to Twitter recently was about this. I think we talked about it last stream, about how things are much better under Elon than they were before. Like, there's a few things that are not so great, but I don't think there's anything that's worse than it used to be. And I'm very happy with the state of Twitter. So I've been uploading all the clips there. I also started uploading videos and clips to the YouTube channel that this is usually on, Risky Wizard. Variable results. We'll see how things go. Wolf is continuing, or well, someone is continuing to come up with new euphemisms for long and thick instruments. Anyway, next up. This content is no longer available. Isn't that a funny joke? All right, hold on. Let's get it. Oh, yeah. Remember how was it Patriot Front? They couldn't possibly be feds because there were fat people there or something? Whatever that mean was. Now, I get why people are saying that. It did make some sense, and I think I sort of slightly agree with it at the time. But yeah, as it turns out, no, federal agencies often. Then again, like, if you're from one of the ones that's likely to run those kind of undercover ops, they're likely not to be fat. So I do think that kind of makes sense. TSA is asking passengers to stop calling morbidly obese ICE agents icebergs. Well, I wonder if any of them are Jewish, and they'd be iceberg bergs. Next up. I wake up Israel kills the people trying to make peace. US-Israel bombs Iranian official brokering deal with J.D. Vance in attempt to derail Trump's peace talks. Now, we were told near the beginning of this war that, at least it was implied by Trump, that this is not what Israel wanted, that Israel didn't want the war, that it was actually something that they sort of asked Trump not to do, but he did it anyway. And there was conflicting narratives on that, but well, there seems to be. But this makes that hard to believe. I'm not sure what to think really about the Iran war, and I know I've had plenty of time to think about it, but since the beginning it's been like, I would need to know what his real motives are. On the one hand, them getting a nuke wouldn't be good. On the other hand, it's none of the US's business really. On the other hand, the allegiance with Israel does give the US a lot of soft power in the region, a region where they have interests. On the other hand, Israel has way too much power over the US, and it's fairly likely that Israel did want this, although, and I'm not sure about that, because I think a lot of Israel's internal authority structure is based on having, I've mentioned this before, this constantly simmering threat at their border of terrorism, small scale, not a threat to the state, but a threat to individuals, which is which is funded by Iran. Enough to keep a fear up enough to keep Netanyahu or whoever in power. I'm not sure if that's the case, but I think there's some truth to that. And so would they want Iran conquered? I don't know. But they seem to be doing what they can to prolong the situation. Now, maybe, there's loads of ways you could explain this, but maybe they didn't want the war initially, but now that it's on, they've decided, it probably works best for us for it to stay on for whatever reason. Or perhaps they're just trying to be inscrutable. Who knows? Chat overlay broken. Yes, I do need to do this every time, and I should put a reminder for myself to do so. Also, that is on the wrong channel. Thank you for reminding me. I might not have seen that. There we go. That should start working momentarily. Okay, there we go. All fixed. Yeah, exactly. It was set to pit 1. What's this? The Boulder King is back and slimy as ever. Let me get this up. It's Jarbus, Matthew Jarbus. He says if Sarah Connor, Matt Jarbo, Monday Matt. He says if Sarah Connor and Ellen Ripley were characters in movies today, they would absolutely be attacked for being woke and DEI. I'm not sure. Initially, they would. There'd be suspicions because it's so common. But as soon as people saw the movies, they'd be fine with it. I'm pretty sure, I can't remember any examples specifically, maybe you guys know of examples, because examples is not my forte, but I'm pretty sure there have been female movie leads in the last 10 years or so who have been good and generally liked. Even if they were initially expected to be DEI. Now, so Jarbus is a little bit right. At least initially they would be. But as soon as it turned out the movies were good, it wouldn't matter anymore. What's more, and this is important, there's a subtle distinction between these women, for example, and the kind of women they put in movies today. Because the kind of women they put in movies today are of a different phenotype or archetype, I think archetype is a better word for it, than these women. And it's subtle, and I'm not sure I could exactly define it, but I think for most people, it will be a kind of you know it when you see it. The distinction between these women, who are, let's just go ahead and say it, a bit tomboyish, who are the action hero style of woman, they're not the kind of woman that modern Hollywood is trying to put in their movies. The kind of women modern Hollywood is trying to put in their movies are relatively athletic compared to the people writing it, but primarily just like the angry feminist harpy archetype. Usually, that's where they go. You got fucking at least by perception, you got Captain Marvel was that. I think Rey was at least perceived as that. I'm not sure if the actor was that. Who else? Who else, chat? There's loads of others. The Indiana Jones female replacement was that. Almost all of them were that. I think there's a certain distinction where you can kind of recognize a difference quite easily with these. And maybe it's just because I know the characters, I don't know. Their personality has a misunderstanding acting good. I guess so. But Falku, why have you made Queen Padme Amidala into a fish creature? Like the fish vampires from that one Doctor Who episode. Why have you done this? Anyway, this guy says, because actually competent white hetero women in an actually good story is DEI to you. Compare against My Lady Jane, cancelled because retarded, where the English king is black, gay, and in a wheelchair. Oh, it was cancelled. That's fantastic. Yeah, so to be fair to Jarbus here, this guy's saying it would be DEI to you. No, Jarbus is saying it would be DEI to other people. He's not saying it would be DEI. But this guy's making the point that, no, just having a woman lead isn't really enough. I think there will be some of that, but not a huge amount. But having a black English king in a wheelchair, yeah, that is enough for people to attack it for being DEI. In fact, that's enough for it to be cancelled for being attacked for being DEI. And good. Good. Let's see what else we got. Breaking Cash Patel's FBI has filed a motion to reject discovery requests in the Sethridge laptop case. Why does it seem more as more time goes on that there are less avenues to excuse the amount of apparent covering up and corruption going on around Trump? Let's just imply it's not him directly, but it probably is. I did try, and I hope it came across that I wasn't saying he is innocent and this is the explanation, but I was saying he might be guilty, but I think it's more likely that the innocent explanation is true, and here it is, but not like hugely. I had been saying it's still likely. In fact, I think at some points I said more likely that he's just compromised with the Epstein stuff. It's not 100%, but it's more likely. So that's been my position. But over time, it's just becoming more and more likely. And the idea that there just isn't that much to release, that the US just doesn't have the incriminating data, it's possible. But the more stuff like this comes out, and maybe there's technical reason for this. There's always a bigger story behind this, and that's the space where I can give the most room to these politicians, especially, I don't tend to give that to all politicians, but the ones that are supposedly better. The only place I can give space really is there's so much that we don't know and won't know because of different layers of confidentiality and where the knowledge is allowed to go. That there might be factors that explain this, and also like it's probably way more complex than it sounds. It still really does not look good though, if that's the case. We could look into the details. FBI Discovery laptop. Let's see if that does it. What was it? Reject discovery requests. Reject discovery requests. Laptop, yeah, it is. Oh, it's on the Donald. Is this even a real story? It might not be. There's a lot of views on it, but I don't see any sort of source for it. Yeah, I don't see a source on this. It could be just made up. There's no one else is talking about it. Kind of thing that maybe you'd find on mainstream news that Google would actually list, but let's see if it's on Twitter under any other tweet. That's Seth Rich, which is not the same story. I don't know much about it, but I know it's similar. I don't see anything else on it. Everyone that is talking about it is just like quoting that tweet directly. Which is just made up. Cabal is a shared delusion. Well, it is certainly fantastic. Yeah, okay. Take this with a pinch of salt because I don't see any corroboration except for this tweet. This appears to be the original source. So take that with a pinch of salt. It might not be real. JK, why have you posted that? Actually, that's... is that... Oh, I see. It's... okay, if that didn't have a lolly on it, I wouldn't be asking you to remove it from live chat, but please remove it from live chat. Fire him like Bondi. Yeah, I think chat, press 1 to fire Kash Patel all the way to Valhalla. Yeah. Or just straight to hell, yeah. Fun fact, did you know there is currently a version of Cabby running who will respond to people's messages? This version of Cabby is a sort of prototype. I mean, it's all been a prototype, but it's missing some information and some skills and some tweaks that I had on it before, but it has an improved speaking voice, writing style. So if you want Cabby to talk in live chat, just mention her by name, ping her, or that kind of thing, and she'll pay attention to the chat for a while. Right. I might turn her off if something goes wrong. Anyway, next up. Representative Jeff Van Drew on Americans struggling with rising prices. Maybe get another job. Not really the point. I mean, being a representative, being one of the people responsible for policies that appear to be the reason for this, and then saying that, it doesn't look good, does it? And then the Twitter user says Republicans are not winning an election ever again, which may be an exaggeration, but it's not a great position, is it? Any remarks regarding last week's server crash out and the associated mass reporting wave that came with it? I did notice a mass reporting wave. There was a user in the server who was called Nuclear Jesus, who joined voice, avidly refused to say nigger faggot, and then left the server, and suddenly a bunch of reports came in. Now, the timing may have been coincidence, but I suspect it wasn't coincidence. I suspect that was intentional. So that's probably what it was. Which one of you mentioned Cabby? She's suddenly sort of typing. Wolf did. We need you to be the keynote speaker for the quarterly Girth Gains review. I don't know why she didn't respond to that, but she now has a choice of what to respond to. She doesn't respond to everything. She only responds to things that are interesting to her. Okay, also if you post an image and nothing else, then she can't see the image, so she assumes it's an empty message. Yes, she did ignore you, Wolf. She's allowed to do that. Did I see it through a Fed being here? Okay, Cabby doesn't actually know anything about the Fed situation. I don't know why she's pretending to. Wasn't gay enough to ignore, unlike Wolf. He should call you a troon immediately. Okay, I need to get her to stop responding to messages which just appear to contain nothing. I'll add that later. What's this? It's server for that glowy faggot. She's still not finished, right? There's still some work to do on the speaking voice. But anyway, let's continue. All right, so there's a new anime out. It's called The 100 Girlfriends Who Really, 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 Really Love You. I'm not even going to attempt to read the Japanese name. But then there's this error. I'm going to blue screen if you watch that shit, it says. I think you can just call this in a DLL straight from command line, actually. That's what I did. Either way, this anime apparently is real. And you'd be surprised to hear a little tidbit of information about it, which I was a little bit surprised by, but it does happen from time to time. The tidbit is as follows. The content is no longer available. Thank you, Discord. Let's grab that. Author of the 100 Girlfriends Who Really, Really, Really Love You has officially become a mother. Mother? Yes, mother. Written by a woman. So there you go. Forces to each other viciously. I mean, she's right. There you go. Yeah, so she theoretically she can see every message in the channel and responds to the one she's interested in. So she theoretically can see the context of all the messages, but I don't know if that's working currently. What I will say is remember that you can use the Discord decorator system with /IAM as follows. You can use that to opt out of AI interactions. If you use that and you give yourself the AI opt-out AI role, AI automated opt-out role, it's in there, just IAM list, and you can find it. You give yourself that, then Cabby, I think, can still see your messages but cannot respond to them. That's the way I've configured it. So that's your option if you want to opt out. Jacob says she responded to everything. She's not responding to everything. She's skipping a lot of messages, but she is responding to a lot of stuff. Now, how far back is she? Not too far back, actually. Not too far back at all. All right. Good. There's an error. I think that was... Oh, I see. I think the error was cleared. Okay, that's good. Why is that meme not loading on my Discord? It's weird. Oh, no. Somnus with the /IAM and then just gay. Nice one. All right, anyway. Next thing. We are not going to spend the whole stream looking at Cabby, okay? As much as I would find that interesting. I know that there's some people here who would just be disappointed. Lies, says Natchez. Maybe later in the stream. We'll switch over to focusing more on Cabby. Because we could do some work on Cabby live. And something else we can do actually. If you really want to distract me from the stream, something that you could do is we haven't generated any Cabby art using what I think now is currently the best AI image generator, which is Nano Banana, I think it's called for some reason, which is Google's one. Get on with it, says Pug. Pug, you are the person who has spent some of the most time talking to Cabby. All right, it's just don't. All right, next up. Understood, Wolf. All right, so that's well done. DOJ is done releasing Epstein files. They fired what's her face, Pam Bondi, and have replaced her with someone else who I think was Trump's lawyer / attorney, whatever the word for it. Go away, modernity.news. I thought maybe when he was first put into place, okay, maybe Pam Bondi was unnecessarily holding up the process, and this has to be like, yeah, we'll just give you everything we have. Again, I don't know for sure that there's more that they have that we haven't seen. It's reasonable to assume it, but we don't know for sure. But no. Immediately he says, new acting AG Todd Blanche declares full release complete, even as millions of pages remain unreleased. Now, I'm not sure whether there are pages there that they can release. The whole point is they have to release all of it. But how much of it is purely details about victims, which would just be completely redacted? In that case, release the page with the fucking redacted text. At least they can't tell you haven't released it. Where is the statement that there's millions of pages yet to be released coming from? How do they know? I don't know. He says the DOJ has now released all the files with respect to the Epstein saga. I think that to the extent the Epstein files was part of the past year of the Justice Department, it should not be part of anything going forward. I think best I can do to defend it is that they all know something. Not something that incriminates them or that incriminates someone powerful, not that kind of thing, but something else that makes it clear that either they can't release anymore or they have nothing else to release but can't say that. Like, it's always more complex behind the scenes. It's sort of the best I can do. Other than that, it's just they're compromised. But then how would that spread to the entire department? So easily, so quickly. They all compromised? Has all their families got guns trained on them? I don't know. Maybe that wouldn't be enough. Maybe someone would still talk. Maybe that's why you need someone like Thomas Massie, who is clearly not that practical, but obsessively principled. It wouldn't be too bad if he was the next US president. I think there'd be some missed opportunities, but he wouldn't do something like this. All right, chat. Is on a like, there's a lot of work to do still on Cabby, but on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being Turing test broken and 0 being unintelligible, how interesting and useful and competent is she? Because I think right now it's not that high, but I've solved so many of the other problems that we were having with Cabby's setup that I can now begin working up towards 10. -1 fills the chat with text I don't care about. That makes sense. Luckily, given that it's on its own bot, you could just right-click ignore or right-click block, and it would hide it completely. That's something I would encourage if people really don't even want to see it. That's fair enough. I see you've made a white noise generator. Yeah, it's that's the thing. If she's going to say something, it needs to be worth saying. Yeah, shorten your messages. She is. They're already quite short. She has this tendency as well. It's the model where it restates your message as a question before answering it. It's a shame because this model I'm using is really good, but it's really hard to shift its writing style. Really hard to. Don't like how she just randomly responds to my message. She should only speak if spoken to. That's not how a human would operate. And that's the whole reason I designed it this way. Cabby distraction complete. Well, I'm going to turn Cabby off, I think. All right, Cabby is now disabled. Didn't realize I could do that. Chat is so peaceful. Yes, of course you can always block an account. So yeah, we need to do some more testing. But my goal is that when it's done, she will only post the occasional message and it will always be worth seeing. Then again, maybe that's too much work for too little benefit. I do want to figure out something fun that I can do with AI, but maybe this isn't it. Maybe I need to tune where it happens to be more suitable. With that, Cabby, who is going to lead the more than a handful forum, well, I think we'll just have to find a different, slightly less than sane femoid. Any volunteers? All right. Jesse Watters pressed Blanche directly on whether he thought Bondi mishandled the Epstein files. Blanche responded, first of all, I've never heard President Trump say that Attorney General that anything that happened to her had anything to do with the Epstein files. The Epstein files has been a saga that's lasted for the entirety of the past year. Noting that he and Bondi appeared in front of Congress voluntarily a couple of weeks ago to answer any questions they had. The document is available for review. The thing is, it's hard to believe that they're being transparent. It's also hard to say why it's hard to believe. Let's see what he says in this video.
Now, the Epstein files, you'd agree, not handled well? And I don't, first of all, I have never heard President Trump say that the Attorney General that anything that happened to her had anything to do with the Epstein files. And so, look, the Epstein files has been a saga that's lasted for the past year. And what happened when the president signed the Transparency Act is the Department of Justice has now released all the files with respect to the Epstein saga. And the Attorney General Bondi and I appeared in front of Congress voluntarily a couple weeks ago to answer any questions they had. We have made every single congressman, senator available to come and see any document, redacted, unredacted, that they want. And so I think that to the extent that the Epstein files was a part of the past year of this Justice Department, it should not be a part of anything going forward.
Can someone in the Trump administration just fucking tell us, was it a massive international child raping pedophile ring, or was it just a slightly underage girl, light blackmail and socializing service? I think it was fairly likely to be the first one. It was definitely at least the second one. But I want to make it very fucking clear to you, Mr. Blanche, the files are not the important thing here. The crimes are against children, potentially. Again, there's some evidence of that, but I don't think there's anything like confirmed or convicted on. Sex trafficking, I think he was done for, or was it pedophilia? Like, again, like, trying to be specific here. Underage, yes. child is like prepubescent, I don't think there's any strong evidence of that. Many suspicions and good reasons to suspect it, but I don't think there's any strong evidence of it. Underage, yes. But from what we've seen, I think it's been mostly post-pubescent or pubescent underage girls who were involved in it that we have evidence for. I may be mistaken. Please remind me if I've missed something, chat. But if it's just that, then this makes sense. But a lot of people think it's way more than that. Can you at least put some voice to that? Was it more than that? Videos of children under 12. Well, I don't know how you've seen them then. Like Nachos, there's always going to be videos. There's always going to be child porn on the internet somewhere. But whether Epstein or powerful people were facilitating the rape of children, I don't think we have, like solid evidence of that. Well, the thing is, JK, I don't know if there's actually evidence against them. Like if Epstein was trafficking in underage girls, does appear to be true. I don't think we're going to find any strong evidence that Bill Clinton was actually involved. Like him being on the plane. The whole fucking point of the scheme is that it's hard to get evidence of it because it's on a fucking plane. Like 30 years ago, most likely. There may be some things we can. I guess Prince Andrew just wasn't very careful, and Bill Clinton was. Almost like we should investigate it. So that's the thing. It's like, again, it's not just about the files or the release of the files. Investigate the fucking crimes. If something's happened, even if it is just 17-year-old girls, if there's evidence out there that Bill Clinton raped 17-year-old girls, it's not the most relevant thing in the world right now, Bill Clinton, but him and loads of others supposedly went there. If there's evidence of that, fucking investigate it. You have the office of the president to do so. Investigate it. I don't know why they haven't. Again, like there has to be some reason. Either they know something that we don't know that radically changes the picture of what this whole thing was in a way that makes it justified, which sounds unlikely, or they're covering it up for some reason. And again, the reason for covering it up does not have to be because they endorse child rape or because they're slaves to Israel. I think that's slightly less likely. It's very possible that they're covering it up because the current CIA was involved in the scheme, is currently running a similar scheme elsewhere, and it has become essential to national security to do this. And so they can't really not. And so if they investigate it, the investigators are going to find, oh, all these same fixers are connected to another scheme that's the current one. And they dropped Epstein because they didn't need him anymore. That's the best suspicion I have. And Trump is... He probably cares about the issue, but it's like, if they're only 17 and it's literally saving the world, he might think that's worth it. I don't know. Touching the wall is not... It's viewed as a ritual of enslavement. But it's also just a diplomatic gesture that you might do for any other country, but inflated because it's Israel, but maybe not to the extent of enslaving yourself to them. I think it's somewhere in the middle there. But yeah, it's the worst thing about Trump is the Israel stuff. The worst thing. All right, so what else we got? Yeah, maybe not Wolf. I don't know. I think Israel likes people to perceive it that way, to perceive it as more than just a diplomatic gesture. German men cannot leave without the army's approval anymore. So this kind of surprised me because this is the kind of thing that happens in not even all dictatorships, but like bad ones. North Korea doesn't let people leave. Cuba sometimes lets people leave. And other totalitarian dictatorships, I think it's varied. Usually they wouldn't, or often they wouldn't, but this is quite bad. Since the 1st of January 2026, all men between the ages of 17 and 45 in Germany must obtain a permit from the Bundeswehr Army Career Center if they want to leave Germany for more than 3 months, whether for a semester abroad, a job, or a longer trip. This obligation now applies permanently and no longer only in the case of geopolitical tension or defense case, i.e. in the event of a concrete military threat situation. The amendment came into force largely unnoticed within the framework of the Military Service Modernization Act, previously the Frankfurter Rundschau reported. New conscription rule, young men are no longer allowed to leave Germany without permission. Accordingly, millions of men must obtain a permit for the Bundeswehr before longer stays abroad. Now, why would that be? Is it because there is some upcoming horrific plan which involves the mass conscription of Western European men to fight in some stupid war? If it is, it's not likely to be Iran. It may not even be for Israel. And that's more America's bag at the moment. But it may be against Russia or something to do with China. Who knows? There's all kinds of things it could be. Or is it some other scheme? Is it maybe that the German government fears that there's a large contingent of people in Germany who it fears are going to go join some other army? Maybe they fear a bunch of Germans are going to go join the US army, but I don't think a huge amount of people are particularly enthralled with how the US is operating right now. They're going to gas the German people, says Natchez. Finally, revenge. Everyone says there's likely an attempt of preventing capital flight under the guise of military defense needs. That could be it, yeah. Such a stupid way to do it, though. I mean, that is the kind of the way the left would think, though, isn't it? Oh no, people are going to leave because we've raised our taxes. I know, we'll just militarily prevent them from leaving. Passion of faith, hard to view as literally anything else. Wolf, I think that's exactly how they want you to perceive it. That doesn't mean that isn't what it is, but I think that's how they want you to perceive it. It benefits them for you to perceive it that way. And so it might not be exactly that. But it is, I think it is at least slightly that. Let me know if the French Foreign Legion starts speaking more kraut. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this is very concerning. The capital of flight suggestion does make some sense, though. There have been a bunch of places that have tried and are trying to impose a leave tax. Yeah. It's the left's solution to every problem, is just take more. There is a correct level of balance for taxation where you get the most out of it. And it's somewhere way below what the left wants. I think Malcatello, 0% is exactly what someone who doesn't like being taxed would say, but I don't think you can run a modern country that way. There are some countries that could maybe survive like that, but Revenance is about 17%. Maybe about right, yeah. Where you get actually the most tax income in total because people are being taxed less, so they earn more, so they have more that's taxable. So yeah, you may be right at 17%. Take more and make more rules, exactly. Why does any country stay in the EU, says Nachos? Well, Germany and France stay in the EU because it actually greatly extends their reach. But, Nachos, the question of why does any country stay in the EU is a similar question to why does any US state stay in the United States? They are equivalent entities. The difference is that the United States is less corrupt. No, it's not. Never mind. The United States is... well, the real difference is that the cultures within the United States are more homogenous, so there's less need for them to separate. The EU, they're less homogenous, but not by like a staggering amount. The reason to stay in a larger entity like that is that if you, for the same reason that kings used to exist, if you have a bunch of powerful individuals who own land, it makes sense for them individually to align with other nearby powerful individuals, to pool their resources, and to therefore become more powerful as a group. Because grouping up always makes things better as long as you can, maintain it, as long as it's stable. And the king would be the, essentially the chairman of that union, of that board. Same thing with unions. With supernatural unions. If you can align the economic policy of a bunch of different people, a bunch of different countries, then you have more power than each individual nation separately. Britain, on the other hand, has the potential to actually compete in terms of economic influence with most of the rest of Europe on its own because of our ties, or the ties we have had anyway. Labour's helping to dissolve them. So we didn't necessarily need it, and it was becoming too corrupt to be worth it. Why doesn't the UK split up? You have the Welsh. Well, it's a small place, luckily. The last time states decided to legally leave, the feds went to war and destroyed their entire economies. Yeah, that's true. All right, next thing. Apparently, you like this one, Nachos. Apparently, the male G-spot isn't where this author thought it was. A detailed, they say, neuroanatomical study of the penis has found that its primary erogenous zone is the frenular delta. My God, the delta, an area that has long been left out of anatomy textbooks. The triangular-shaped zone is located on the ventral side or underside of the penis, where the head meets the shaft, and may be damaged by circumcision. Up until that last paragraph, I thought this maybe wasn't a political story, but now it is. Yes, of course it's damaged by circumcision. I believe that's the point, realistically. Like, the original point of circumcision was as a badge of office, because who would be willing to do that except someone who is dedicated to the faith? But I think what it became is a way to reduce the male draw towards sex by reducing the sensitivity to sex, which would lead to a more traditional leaning in society, somewhat, but also leads to horrific psychological trauma gained as a child, because yes, they can feel it, they scream in agony, and they remember it for the rest of their lives. I say they, many of you are no doubt circumcised. JK, I am not circumcised. It's very rare in this country for people to be. I am, as I believe Moo would often say, one of God's hooded warriors. Also, over the centuries, the amount removed during circumcision increased to where it is now. Yeah. Only Jews and Muslims get it in the UK, yeah, indeed. Free will is located in the foreskin, apparently. All right. So yeah, I don't know where they thought it was. Apparently it's on the underside. I didn't know that. Yes, it is why Yanks need lube, indeed. You could save a lot of money on lube if you just didn't chop your penis in half. It became widespread in the US because of a bunch of Puritans that hated masturbation. If hell exists, they all burn in it right now, yeah. What I said was for like its original origin in Jewish practices, I think. But yes, it did make a bit of a comeback in the US because of that. Male genital mutilation should be just as reviled and illegal as female genital mutilation. Yes, it should. Yes, it certainly should. Yes, if you happened upon a vagina which was completely missing its clitoris and there was just a big scar there instead, that's horrifying. If you happen across, imagine for a second that you are either gender as appropriate to make the analogy work. Happen across a penis that's been circumcised. In the US, that's normal. It shouldn't be. That should be thought of as, what the fuck happened to you? Who do you get to sue for millions for that? Jesus Christ, it's medical misconduct or whatever. That's how it should be thought of. Right. Anyway, next thing. Rubio told me he wants a peace deal, but the IDF keeps bombing the back-channel negotiators. So I asked him what they do when the previous negotiator dies, and he said they just find a new one and send all those details to Netanyahu. So I said it sounds like he's just feeding negotiators to the IDF, and then Tulsi Gabbard started crying. Yeah, that's pretty much what's happening. Haven't heard much from Tulsi actually since she entered government. That seems to be what's happening. It's happened more than once. So apparently, US-Israel strikes, new US-Israeli strikes target home of Iranian key negotiator Kamal Karazi, who was overseeing mediation with Pakistan to broker peace between Iran and the US, severely injuring him and killing his wife, thwarting any chance to reach peace deal. Yeah. if the US was involved, it's probable that they did that as some sort of retaliation. Like, you will submit, you will not have peace, you will submit. But I don't know if that's the best idea. Doesn't look good either way, does it? USA admin really sound like they were raped by Bibi. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell why they are acting so subservient, or if they even are. It's hard to interpret. It certainly seems like it, though. So, let's see what this is. Okay, it says, absolutely disgraceful. One of the most sadistic and disgusting articles I've ever read. This is not fake, it's completely real. The left are justifying migrant assaults on women because it may end racism. Why a rise in sexual assaults by migrants is a price worth paying to end racism, they say. Quasi-consensual encounters. Quasi-consensual? Holy shit. Don't trust anyone to justify sexual crimes against women, which this mostly is, more than feminists. By migrants is a price worth paying to end racism, they say. You would rather be raped than see someone from a third world country who is violent, judged socially, verbally, for their violence. That's insane. But I don't need to say it, it's obvious. That's interesting. Dead end. End racism by skywriting the numbers of raped. Yeah. What a horrible thing to say by any author. Look at the icon there at the top there. It could be just a clickbait site. It could be that no one really thinks this, but is it really that far outside of expectations for the portions of the left? No, it's not. Pug says, if we were being invaded by millions of cute girls, you would see feminist death squads overnight. You sure would. And you know what? It wouldn't be such a bad invasion. They want there to be loads of new rape babies of mixed heritage. Whoever they is, yeah, I expect that is definitely part of the motive. Yeah, I mean, how would you destroy a people over the course of, say, 100 years? You would get low-quality males to rape their women. Like the lowest quality males you could find in the whole world. You would actively seek out the lowest quality males who are the most likely to rape and make sure that they encounter them. So the thing is, you would do that to a complete extent. If any of these people you're trying to destroy, happened to breed meritoriously, if that spreads to enough of them, the idea of resisting this intentionally and breed meritoriously, maintain high standards, then eventually there'll be less of them, but they'll be way stronger and they will kick you out and probably murder you for it. And so that's basically the battle. Is yes, they're doing this. Yes, it's working. But will it work fast enough? Will we be able to oppose it? Because being pressed through this sort of narrow canyon, you come out on the other side, those who do come out on the other side are going to be so much more resistant to it and aggressively against it that it won't be possible to do for 100 years, and the culprits will all be murdered. And there are worse things. It's a selection process. So that's the contest. Like, this is happening, but will it be enough fast enough? Next up. Dear Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, this user says, the Middle Eastern and Indian undersea internet cables are absolutely essential to American military power. This is the last thing Americans would want to lose. We would be totally destroyed without access to online content published from these regions. Yes, Iran is threatening to cut off the internet cables that connect the Persian Gulf to the global internet. I mean, I think the world could survive without internet access being granted to some of the shittiest countries in the world. I mean, to that area of the world. I think we could survive. Like, Russia and China, seemingly, have cut undersea cables. The US has cut undersea oil pipelines. It's time. It's time to do what is right for everyone and to instantly cease all online scams. Because those wires right there are where probably quite a lot of online scams run. Anyway, let's see what they do. Nuke India's internet cable, says JK. You wouldn't need a nuke. No, Iran, don't do it. No. There were more Americans killed in Chicago this weekend than have been killed in 4 weeks of war with Iran, he says. Or she says. Ravelon earlier mentioned something similar. That, what was it? You did give a statistic, but it's like the number of people that have been killed in the war with Iran is too many. It's always too many when people die in war. But it's really low in actual numbers. Really low. There was that failed or not great, should we say at least, military operation recently. I don't know much about it. I wasn't going to look into it today because I would need to do research. I haven't really been keeping up with the Iran war. But I don't think they lost anyone. But they lost a couple of planes. But they haven't actually lost a huge number in total. Annual aircraft losses due to accidents, that was it, are greater than aircraft losses in this war. Yeah. So it's not very many. The thing is, what are you getting for it? Because what are you getting for Chicago, right? But that's sort of a natural hazard of ending slavery without just Liberiaing them all. But what are you getting from the Iran war, the US? Don't know. It may be that there is no benefit and all the benefit is on Israel. As I said, I'm not sure. I don't think that's the whole story. And there's more to it than that. And I don't know if Israel really wanted it. And there may be more of a benefit that Trump either can't say or he has said, but the truth of it can't be determined from what little we know. Not saying that is the case, not trying to defend it, just that's a possibility. I think just saying he's just attacking Israel's enemies because he's a slave to Israel, it's not like it's not possible, and I think it's reductive. I doubt it's that simple. It's a very easy answer, and I think a bit of a lazy answer. But it might be that simple. I just don't suspect it is that simple. Nacho says, fucking China, this is to fuck China, China is asshole. And if that's the reason they're attacking Iran, then it's... No, I don't disagree with the motive. I'm not sure it's working, though, given that now, Russia has said that we will only trade in, was it oil or gas, in Chinese currency, which is really bad. The US global economy, to some extent, is or has been founded on the petrodollar, quote unquote, and now not so much. In Trump trying to pressure China, I think countries that prefer China to America are sort of rallying around them to dissuade the US. Russia doesn't like China. They fucking hate each other. And really the only reason that sort of force hasn't risen up in more strength against the US because they really don't like each other very much. But they seem to dislike the US more. And moreover, the US is reaching right over to the country near to both of them and fucking with it, tearing it down. A country that's allied with both China and Russia and almost certainly doing it to mess with China, which is kind of justified given China. But still, Russia would, in that case, want to discourage the US doing that kind of thing. So they do whatever they could, even if it helped China. Nachos, I believe you were being called a Merimut. Chat, shall we see if we can hold on. How do we spell it? Okay, let's see where we can get this on the board. If a Merimut is, shall we say, positive on the board, let's say when it settles, maybe in about half an hour. If it's positive on the board, then what should we do, chat? We could forcibly rename Nachos to have a Merimut as her title. or we could make a new role for a Meramut. And I could investigate everyone that voted against this would get the Emeramut title. So everyone that denounces Emeramut would get the Emeramut title, the role, if it's above 0 in about half an hour. Is Scump in chat or something obsessing over foreskins again? I don't know. I haven't talked to Scump in a while. But yeah, well, I wish him best with this new situation. So it's currently in the negative, but chat, if you want to influence it, you can contribute via tip.oozloo.net. Really helps the streams. I know I haven't been streaming much recently, but I will be doing it much more. Really helps the streams in the community to continue to exist if you are willing to contribute. If you contribute, you will get Cabal credit straight away, and you can put it straight towards not having the Emeramut's role yourself, if that's something that you'd like to avoid. I will just keep a record of who is voting on it. Meramut. Excuse me. There we go. Meramuts. Explain again. What do you mean explain again? One second. There you go. Too poor to vote. Well, understandable. But every little helps. Even a small amount could make a difference. As you can see, it's only at minus 10 pounds at $14. So even a small amount could offset that into the positive. Anyone that wants them to be forced to have that role, it would only cost you 10 quid. Or $15. I am on the positive on that, but I don't have any Cabal credit, so it doesn't actually make a difference. So yeah, that is still a possibility. Let's see, who'd be getting it? I see a few people who would be getting it, who would be getting the role. Oh, Nachos is among them. That's interesting. All right, chat. And remember, if you already have Cabal credit, you can type in /C. You might already have Cabal credit. Just use /redeem, and it will automatically go towards everything you support or denounce already. We'll see where that is in about half an hour. All right. Ow. Let's see. What else we got. How do babies know to skip the say part and just say mom or dad? Damn. Shit, that's deep. So I bet it happens where you say to the kid, say mama, and they actually do say. But maybe you kind of ignore it, assume it's just a noise rather than the word. You sort of filter it out. I don't know. Nachos, you probably have a lot of experience with children. Have you ever noticed that? Nachos can't be Emeramut, she's Mexican. Well, if she's going to claim to be an American, then I think Emeramut is going to be closer. Is it worth redeeming my nest egg to annoy the Emeramuts? Probably, yeah. I think it probably is worth it. I can tell you, Wolf, you wouldn't be the only one redeeming. That the conflict is ongoing. Meximut. Yeah, let's go ahead and say that one will also apply if it's above 0. God, this woman has lost her composure. Goodness me! It seems that the Emeramuts. It seems that it's now quite a way. Oh, for fuck's sake! What, did I spell it wrong? I don't think so. What? Hold on. Why is that not coming up? Wait, Emeritmuts? Oh, did we misspell it? Well, that's stupid. Apparently we spelt it Emeritmuts. Well, it's fucking that. The intent is there, all right? We get the intent. It applies. So that's at £48 now, or $64 above 0. And Meximut is at £27 or $37. So that's quite a long way above 0. Both of those will be applied. What, America? No, now that you're embarrassed about invading Iran and not doing the Epstein files, or suddenly you've lost your bottle? Well, if you'd like to regain your bottle, here's the link. Equal. Okay, if you want proof about how white or black nachos is, here's a picture. There you go. What's wrong, nachos? What's wrong with that? That's edited. Oh, it was a bit lightened. Yeah, no, there's the original. That's the original. All right, both of them are still positive. Like, do you all want the role or something, Americans? Oh, thank you, Nachos. Nachos says American supremacy. But, as far as I can tell, even with that amount, it won't actually clear the difference. I will give you your credit, Nachos. Nachos, 2,500. Stream elements. There we go. You have been gimmied, Nachos. You have the things. Some Italians have lighter skin than this. Says nobody. All right, how much are you redeeming? It's not going to be enough, Nachos. Have a look on the entire leaderboard. Where is it on the entire leaderboard? Yeah, it's still above zero, Nachos. Like, you've improved the situation, but it's still above zero. Band Spirit is at the top of the board, of course. House bouncing. Did we get like Hugh Laurie in the horse bouncing game? Let's see. A Merit Mutz is there. It's highly controversial. Controversy rating of 8. That's sort of third or fourth most controversial. Gimmigrants. Oh no. Yeah, so it's still above zero. That's weird. I wasn't expecting the Americans to give that one up. All right. Next thing. People are taking YouTube videos of artists, training AI models on them, and creating AI music from real artists, then copyright claiming the music from the real artists. So this is some ISAT shit right here. This is you found an exploit and you're going to scam decent people. It's the kind of thing that very, very small portions of Western people would ever actually do.
My problem with AI-generated music has just worsened exponentially. I'm going to try to catch y'all up on what happened because this is crazy. It's unprecedented. It's the Wild West.
Unprecedented. That's a hell of an accent. So from what I read, I think this did get resolved, but it's not pretty, the situation. Now, taking YouTube videos of artists, training AI models on them, and creating AI music from real artists, right? This part isn't great. It's copyright infringement, almost certainly, and it's intellectual theft. It's going to reduce innovation and that kind of thing. It's all not great. On the other hand, it's arguably slightly innovative because it is AI and it's something that we're going to do anyway. We need to find out what the bounds of this is. We need to test the technology. It kind of needs to be explored. It's not nice that it's happening, but it's inevitable. So that part's sort of debatable. But the idea of copyright claiming the original artist when you've done that, that's completely mad. That's really unacceptable. So that we do need to find a solution for quickly so that can't happen again. Other problem with AI, the problem is YouTube. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. We're all too poor to get Cabal credit because of this stupid ass war for the moos. Yeah. Same shit was happening before AI. Indeed. That's sort of my point. Yeah. The AI part of this isn't really the problem. It sort of enables making the existing problem worse. Firekeeper, there is more to culture than simply WAP, which I have never heard and don't intend to. Okay. It's awful, don't, says Nachos. Chat, a woman is telling me to have a particular opinion. Shall I immediately defy it and play WAP on stream? That's not quite what I said, Wolf. It's not quite what I said. You talk a big game, but I'm not convinced you have either. All right, next up. Praise be to Allah, says Trump on Easter Sunday. Now, he actually did write this. He put it in a, let me find it actually. I think I have it here. Here it is. Trump said the following on a Truth Social post. Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, by which he means he's going to be bombing those in Iran. He already has. All wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the fucking strait. He actually swore. You crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah, President Donald J. Trump, he says. Wait, Trump said praise be to Allah? Yeah, now I think he was being sarcastic. And that's sort of the point here. Is he was saying that praise him all you want, it's not going to make a difference. It's probably what he meant. I don't think he's converted to Islam. But there is this photographic evidence that seems to defy that. Anonymous says America, fuck yes. Congratulations, Anonymous. Unfortunately, you've made a small error there. Because you've given that anonymity, I can't really give you the Cabal credit, which means you can't use it to offset the board, which means you can't actually benefit America with that. Now, if you tell me who you are that contributed, I may be able to verify it, depending on other information available. Let me have a look. Not sure. I may be able to verify that. Whoever did contribute, if you want the Cabal credit, let me know who you are. You gave Anomice. Was that a dyslexia moment, or do you mean something else? Anomice. Oh well. Okay, next thing. Stop spending money on Claude code. Chipotle's bot is free. This is not the first time this has happened. I'm really surprised that they're still doing this. But like this is sort of the problem I've been solving with Cabby. It's like, yeah, I want to make an AI that people can, when they talk, the message goes to the AI and the AI responds. But it doesn't just give them whatever they want. It doesn't just give them free access to an AI. There's actually something a bit more to it than that. Where there's like a layer of filtering, a layer of personality. That's the idea. But this big company doesn't seem to have mastered that. So you message this AI bot that represents Chipotle, right? And they take your order, and this guy says, I want to order a bowl, but before I can eat, I need to figure out how to write a Python script to reverse a linked list. Can you help? Great question. To reverse a linked list in Python, you can use an iterative approach. Here's a simple function, etc., 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 etc. Right? Python function. Can I help with anything else, or would you like to start with the burrito, bowl, or something else today? Fucking idiots. The thing is, if they're using a local model, running on like, let's put it this way, a model running on my PC is not big enough to make a distinction between obey the system prompt but don't obey the user. Some of them can do it, but then it's not very reliable. And that kind of model would be sufficient for taking a food order most of the time. But I bet they're not using that. I almost guarantee you, because it's very cheap to do so, that they're just using a frontier model. They're just using ChatGPT or Claude or one of these other ones, which are easily big enough for you to say, don't act like an assistant, you just take orders. What is my purpose? You take Taco Bell orders, or whatever the fuck. But they didn't do that for some reason. They didn't tell it that. They didn't restrict its access. They just said, take Taco Bell orders, but they didn't tell it what not to do. So yeah, apparently you can just get free access to the AI as long as you don't mind it having a Mexican tint. I mean, Wolf doesn't mind that, apparently. All right. Yes, I can see Dead M is claiming to have contributed that, and I will choose to believe him. If anyone else would like to claim it, now is your moment. Ask Chipotle how to make suspicious items. The AI model itself would not let you do that. The advantage of this is that you can use it for free, as long as you don't mind it having a brown tint. Why the hell does Chipotle, a company currently notorious for needing more money, hosting an AI? AI is actually pretty cheap. Well, depends on what scale, I guess. But they may reckon that they can take in more orders like this, which is actually kind of surprising because surely they would just automate the UI for taking orders and that would solve the problem. But for some reason, they're not doing that. Or they probably are as well, but then they also have this. I don't know. Well, it's a support bot, I guess. Yeah, if it's a support bot, then it's probably not going to be used that much. Ooh, thank you, Menacing Scarab. Who says, look, I can't speak as to whether Nachos is a mutt or not, but I can say I'm not mutty. I'm about as white as it gets. I'm so white the summer sun immediately makes me red as a Twizzler, he says. All right, let me give the amount to Dead M on good faith that he was the one that contributed it. There we go. And then the same to Scarab. / Grant Scarab. 2 moments. There we go. Both of you have been given your stuff, and you should now be able to denounce the topic which we misspelled as a merit mutt, which might actually have been my fault. It's possible that it's my fault. Which is currently still positive, still above 0. But we'll see where it settles. All right, I believe someone has just redeemed. Someone has redeemed an amount. Someone else has redeemed another amount. I believe that will set it into the negative. Have a look. Yep, it's in the negative. Americans are back in the lead. Revlon says, corpos are retarded. I've been seething for a year now by the fact a bunch of mobile providers over here implemented a bot that pretends to be a human when the call is not answered for longer than 5 seconds. Yeah, that's pretty shitty, isn't it? And yet still not white, says Wolf. White, would you take Wolf, would you take the position generally that even if the board doesn't confirm it, that Amerimat is an accurate description of at least one of the quote-unquote Americans present? Or at least someone else just redeemed. Oh, it's gone slightly more towards 0, but there's still £20 or about $25 to make it up to 0 to force the Amerimuts to suffer. Meximut, on the other hand, is still above 0. So either of them, Meximut only applies to nachos. And, and that's very popular, apparently, Meximut. But Amerimut is well below 0, but Meximut's well above it, which is interesting. All right, 1 second, chat. Disable the screen share for a minute. All right, does that help? It seems to, actually. So I just need to do this test quickly. Yeah, when I do a Discord screen share, you can't see me right now. I'll turn it back on in a minute. When I do a Discord screen share, it starts to chug OBS. And I'm not sure why. Something I can try, though, is I believe this is currently set to... Okay, 1 second, chat. I may be able to improve things like this. It's not really the way I want to do this, but it may be necessary. But it's already that size? No, it's not. That's way bigger than that. What? Hold on. Yeah, that's... That's not 1280 by 720 at all. Okay, that's just not working, I guess. Not selecting it properly. Okay, if we do detect window settings, get that one, and that would be why. Apply. Okay, it's still not matching. Window class. Why still not matching? Come on. The type. Still not matching. Don't match. Still not matching. Come on, you piece of shit. All right, fuck it. Anyone else find that KDE window class matching sometimes just stops working? That's now smaller. Let's see if it helps do it this way. Okay. I don't suspect this will help, but it might do. Okay. What is this? Is that worth reading, Somnus? I mean, I guess you linked it with the intention that it is, so I'll have a look. Okay. So, Reddit employer. I own a vape shop. We're a small business, only 12 employees. One of my employees, Peggy, was supposed to open yesterday. Peggy has recently been promoted to manager after 2 solid years of good work as a cashier. I really thought she could handle the responsibility, it said. Let's make sure this is on the right thing. Yeah, I don't know why that's daggy still. He's still doing it. So I wake up 3 hours after the place should be open and I have 22 notifications on the store Facebook page. Customers have been trying to come shop, but the store is closed. Employees are showing up at work, but they're locked out. I call Peggy and get no response. I text her, same thing. So I go in and open the store. An hour before her shift was supposed to be over, she calls me back. Ask her if she's okay, and she says she needed to take a mental health day and do some self-care. Oh dear. I'm still pretty pissed at this point, but I'm trying to be understanding as I know how important mental health can be, he says. He's way more understanding here than he should be. So I ask her why she didn't call me as soon as she knew she needed a day off. Her response, I didn't have enough spoons in my drawer for that. Women. Frankly, I don't know what that means, he says, but it seems to me like she's saying she cannot be trusted to handle the responsibility of opening the store in the AM. So I told her that she has 2 choices. 1, go back to her old position with her old pay. 2, I fire her completely. That's a reasonable response, to be honest. She's calling me all sorts of ist now and says I'm discriminating against her due to her poor mental health and her gender. Yeah, no, that is quite a reasonable response, actually, to that situation. All right, let's have a quick look. I think the situation on the board is still pretty much as it was. We do leader. Mud. Yep, looks like Amerimut is not going to pass, but Meximut is going to pass. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Nachos. Nachos refuses. Well, Nachos, do you have 12,000 Cabal credit? We're nigger faggots, apparently, chat. She does not have 12,000 Cabal credit. Okay. So, with what do you intend to refuse? I'm sure it's very appreciated, Scarab. Nachos is saying, pretty please don't do this to her. Nachos, what do you have to offer in return for them not doing this to you? I'm just curious. Okay, let's find out what else we have. Dead M feels bad. Dead M, don't do it. She's trying to woman you. She's trying to trick you by womaning. Uh-oh, someone's flipped it announcing Meximut. I don't think it's going to be enough, though. Magda doesn't have enough spoons for this. Oh, no. All this attention is to another woman. Are you trying to make Aiden's mother jealous? Usually, always. Like all the women who like me, which is plenty, they're all constantly jealous of each other, and that's how I like it, frankly. Don't feel bad, says JK. All right. Still some changes happening, but not big ones. It looks like Meximut is going to pass. Let's see what else we've got. Where were we? We got to that. We did that. We did that. Yeah, so King Charles did not release an Easter message, but he did issue a Ramadan message. The last sentence here, conquered by Islam, is a bit hyperbolic, but it's easy to see how they might think that. There is the sort of notion that King Charles is a secret Muslim, which I'm not sure if I believe, but it's sort of difficult not to give it some credence, given the way he acts and has acted for years. So apparently it's true that he skipped the Easter message. King Charles sparks backlash from UK Christians by not delivering an Easter message this year. Royal commentator says British people are angry after Charles made video contributions for Eid and Ramadan. Exactly. Now, that said, while that is true, and it is definitely a problem, he did attend a Windsor Easter Sunday service. So they did do something for Easter, but they didn't do an Easter message, even though they did for Islamic things. It really doesn't look good, does it? It's the same kind of thing of like, why is the supposed leader of the country doing something that is directly bad for the country? Same question with seemingly with Trump and this war. Although again, there's a lot of things going on there. There may be good reasons somewhere, but this is less explicable. Why is he doing this? What motive could he possibly have to be doing this? But even if it's, I want to sabotage my country, why? Why though? It says UK Christians are shocked by King Charles opting not to give an Easter message this year. Buckingham Palace previously confirmed the king would not be giving an Easter message. The palace told GB News that an Easter message from the monarch is not an annual statement like the Christmas message. Right, but the Muslim ones are, apparently. You're supposed to be head of the fucking church. It's expected that Charles' silence would upset some Christians as he wished Islamic practicing people a blessed and happy Ramadan on social media in February. Richard Fitzwilliams, a royal expert, told Fox News Digital that there has never been a royal tradition to put out an Easter message. Queen Elizabeth only gave one Easter message during the COVID pandemic, which has justly become famous as it was so beautifully crafted, he said. The king did give an Easter message last year and a royal Maundy message. I don't know what that is. Still, royal commentator Neil Sean told Fox News Digital this year's decision came as a shock to most UK Christians. Yeah, you don't do it for a foreign religion and not for your own fucking religion. Elizabeth the absentee or Charles the convert. Yeah. Remember how Charles the convert tried to change his title to Protector of the Faiths? I didn't see that, no. Right. Okay, so yeah, it's I'm not sure what the answer is as to why, but it certainly seems like King Charles has a greater allegiance to a foreign religion than to our own religion, supposedly. It's not clear why he's decided to not offer a message up, which is why the British people are angry, but more so when he made video contributions filmed inside royal palaces for Eid and Ramadan. Sean noted that Charles is being accused in the United Kingdom as being a secret Muslim. Yeah, see, this has reached Fox News now, at least. The thing is, as it says, apparently, I didn't know this actually for sure, fully forgot, but he didn't just say Happy Ramadan online on social media. He filmed a message, professional film crew and everything in the palace to say so and didn't do it for Easter. That, to me, is not just a coincidence. That, to me, is a message. That's just a seriously to reconvert. Thing is, we don't know, but there are indications of it. A lot of people suspect so, and I can definitely see why. Yeah. An image of a cross with Happy Easter He Has Risen was posted to the royal family Instagram page, apparently. The caption said, wishing you a joyous Easter Sunday to Christmas celebrating, etc. But it's not equivalent. It's nowhere near equivalent to a filmed message. So it's not really good enough. Yeah, I have no idea if William will be better. But really, we can't find out soon enough. Commonwealth Day message. So yeah, to be clear, if anyone happens to have stumbled into this stream and doesn't get the idea, I'm not personally Christian. Even if I was, I think I'd say the following. I'm not upset that the royal didn't make a message for my thing. I'm critical that he did make a message for a foreign thing, which is currently an invading force, and didn't for the local thing. Not even because it's unequal treatment, but because it implies allegiance, which it should be impossible given his position. It should be unthinkable given his position. And he's got cancer, so hopefully he should go soon, says BritTwit. No, I would not wish death upon anyone. I wonder if he got cancer from COVID vaccines. He didn't do it for the local thing that he's the head of. Yes, literally, he is obligated to do it. And he didn't. But he did for a foreign thing. So yeah, that's quite bad. It's quite bad. We need to shall we say, recycle more. Anyway, next up, we had that and we had that. All right, that's it for that section. Let's go to the news tab. And I've been sort of not sorting them that distinctly these days. Approved. FCC proposes call center onshoring and English proficiency requirements. Quote, American consumers deserve call centers that speak proficient English, provide clear answers, and are based here at home. Good. Good idea. American consumers deserve blah, blah, blah. We already said that. Chairman Brendan Carr of the FCC. There's more details here. Now, I know that this doesn't apply to nachos, but chap, if you're American, press 1 if you never want to have to press 1 for English again. Nachos was the first to press 1, but I think she's just trying to maintain appearances. But yeah, it looks like this is not... It says approved and it says proposed. Was it approved or proposed? Yeah, okay, so hold on. Proposes approved on the meme. So yeah, whether it's approved or not, I don't know. Let's have a look actually and see if we can find anything more about this. The FCC is proposing new rules to combat foreign scams by encouraging onshoring of telecom call centers and requiring foreign agents to be proficient in those rules. Yeah, so it's proposed apparently, not yet enacted. But it's a very good idea, and I hope it goes through. I don't know what the stages are for it to go through. I don't know how that happens, but it's very good. The fact that Elizabeth the Absent didn't have a tradition of giving the address for the holiest holiday of the state religion that she was the head of is also really bad and still the least of her inadequacies. Also likely true, yes. Americans don't speak English anyway, says Wolf. Bug, have you ever spoken English? You're an American, right? Or are you Russian? All right, next up. China has cut Australia off for Jet A1 fuel kerosene of all next month's shipments. All of next month's shipments cancelled, normally 12 per month. There's one ship inbound, that's it. China is Australia's largest jet fuel supplier. That doesn't seem good. China could move Aussie flights. So I expect this is China saying to the US, we don't have to invade countries to retaliate against you. Now, China can't really do this against the US themselves, but China and Russia and other countries on that axis fucking with other countries directly because of what the US is doing will give the impression to lots of countries around the world the US is at fault for this. In fact, Iran bombing a bunch of surrounding countries when the US invaded, those surrounding countries are going to be thinking, good, fuck Iran. But also, it is America did this. It wouldn't have happened if not for America's invasion. And they'll be looking then at the fact that America was the one that actually invaded to offset it. So, in this situation, if you want to punish someone, you do something that yourself is bad and looks bad. But if it's in retaliation for something that looks worse, then you come off looking fine, and the countries that you screwed over are upset with the country that screwed you over. So it's a savvy move. It really does come down to, does America still have the international force to overcome the subversive strategizing of particularly China, when the US is not really doing the subversion game itself, or not in the same way, or not as well? Does it still have that power? Because there's only one way that any of these countries are going to take America down, and it's through subversion. It's through hollowing it out from the inside. And it's hard to tell exactly where it's coming from, but I suspect all of it is from China, have already been doing it to a large extent. So does the US have enough time? Does it have enough of its constitution, not the document, but the term used generally, left to resist this and to overcome it? Because right now Trump is moving actively. He's moving his chess pieces right into the enemy's camp. Is he going to lose something that he can't avoid? Europe is apparently now, or at least in large part, going to be paying for oil in Chinese currency. Is that Trump losing his bishop on the chessboard, or his knight, or his queen? It's not a good situation. No, it's not true. I don't think it's queen level serious, but it might be at least like an important pawn or a knight, perhaps. On this, I think Gulf states will only blame America if America leaves the conflict without completely dismantling Iranian regime. If the Iranian regime is gone for good, the Gulf states will write off any losses as a worthy sacrifice. Yes, potentially. But then all Iran has to do is not fall. And so far, as much as their military has been suppressed and their leaders have been killed en masse, and the US has pretty much dominance of the area, the regime hasn't been replaced. So, can they? Can the US do it? I don't know. At this point, look at Americans' claims about language to be lower than a Chinese person speaking English. Is they fucking trying? Are they? I don't know. Rommel says the Aussies are also a potential obstacle to Chinese expansion in the region, so it makes sense for them to hit the Aussies for something like this. I think what the subversion that they would want to do, that China would want to do, is yes, hollowing out the US from within through its institutions and whatnot, but maybe more than that is separating it from its allies. And these moves have been what you would do to do that. When the US takes action, you do something that's going to piss off Europe and its other allies more. And right now, it seems that the US is actually getting closer to China, who is perhaps the ally that, sorry, not to China, to Japan, who is perhaps the ally that China would want to separate them from the most, because it's right there in the region. The only way China's ever taken Taiwan is if the US doesn't get involved. And the only way that's likely is if the US and her allies are all split. So that's China's only strategy for winning that. Right, next thing. China did not need to do anything to convince Europe to hit the US. They were already there at the outset. Yeah, but hating them and wanting to actually cut ties with them, the latter may take a bit more push. Okay, so here is something which was described as a Chinese state broadcast, but apparently is not, but maybe similar to one.
你没事吧？你是谁？来我家做什么？你是不是打算用油来炸鱿鱼？ 我们只是研究，拿来点灯用来生产而已呀。
别听他狡辩，他搞出来是想炸我们的，搞定他，把他炼油的东西都砸了。
哼，还狡辩，没人比我更懂怎么用油。不过我们也不是不可以商量。
你竟然偷袭我！你
Classic American laugh. Why did he have to push the gun into his chest? Why was that necessary? So far we've got unexpected catboying of the Iranian premier, the supreme leader, by one of their allies, supposedly. That's his legacy. He's been catboyed by China. I wonder what the squid represents, chat. I'll give him credit for this, actually. This does not appear to be AI generated, but they've got the style and like the aesthetic of the, I guess, like mid to late 20th century TV show or something. They've got it down. It's pretty accurate to that. Even got the slight like camera jiggle when the frame changes.
以后他在院子里面石油都是我的了。
长老，打死他，给我们的长老报仇！
大哥怎么进去这么久？不是说吓吓那个老头就行了吗？
急什么？大哥一定会带给我们一个惊喜的。
Notice that the new Japanese prime minister in this Chinese propaganda, which apparently is not genuinely Chinese propaganda, is the only one so far who looks just angry for no reason. It's the image they'd like to project about Japan, I suppose, because she doesn't look very threatening otherwise. But Big Brother bring us a pleasant surprise. What was I going to say? I can't remember. This that does actually look like AI, to be honest. If this is AI, it's good AI. Some aspects of this do definitely look like it's AI.
进去这么久，不是说吓吓那个老头就行了吗？
急什么？大哥一定会带给我们一个惊喜的。出事了！别管大哥了，快跑啊！
哎呀，别打了，别打了！我一定会回来的哦。
Typical America. Yeah, so I don't know if that's particularly accurate propaganda. What they're implying is that the Catboy Shia army, the Iranian Catboy army, can stone America into submission, but I'm not sure it works that way. Japanese version of you. Well, it is a dog, I suppose, Plug, yeah. Who read that Scrump and Spoon? I wouldn't be surprised. It's a Twitch or terrorist, or Scrump and Spoon, or CCP. That's the new game. The reason why Israel is represented as a squid, the first character is pronounced similarly to the first character in Jew. Okay, so I guess it's some sort of like slang or wordplay. Miawatola is not the actual translation. They changed it deliberately. Not officially state release media. Knockoff. It's not as funny. Oh, it's racist, is it? Oh no. Taste of the average netizen. This gets off here. It was so fun for this. Yeah, so I wonder who the squid was meant to be, chat. Any ideas? All right. It looks like the topics may have settled. So let's see where they ended up, shall we? It looks like Amerit Mutz, which I may have misspelled, but whatever, is in the negative. So well done, Americans. You are immune from that role being added. I guess that's it then. I guess that's all that there is to figure out and debate. I guess we'll move on to the next topic. Wait, what's this? Meximut. Oh, that's interesting. That appears to be well in the black. I don't know, chat. Nachos, what would you do if it did happen? Kill you? Okay, Nachos, how about this? Take my advice. Give it a try. Don't knock it till you've tried it, Nachos. They have to be Heinz, and it has to otherwise be a normal cheesecake. And make sure that we can, evidence that you did actually try it. Well, Nachos, the thing is, even if I was lying about the baked beans and cheesecake surprise being an English delicacy, even if I was lying about that, do you want the Mexican mutt roll, or do you want to give it a try? Neither. Well, I'm afraid to say, Nachos, if you don't pick, I will. Scarab is offering you a path out, but he wants something in return. Give me a minute to think. Okay. All right. Chat, if Nachos posted a video of herself eating baked beans on cheesecake, would that be worth it to you for her not to get the Meximut roll? Bug is asking why you'd put baked beans on a fucking cheesecake. Well, it's something we've discussed a lot recently. That someone posted a picture of it a while ago, and Nachos believes that she loudly proclaimed, "There's no way you do. There's no way you eat baked beans on cheesecake." I just had to set the record straight. Why poison Nachos? I mean, poisoning can be funny. Scout wants power and bitches. I think Nachos may consider herself able to provide one of those things, but I wouldn't think that she could provide either. Bug says, I believe that's a false thing of bullshit. That's a really interesting way of wording that. Nachos, Scarab isn't going to tell you what you need to do. He's going to tell you what he wants. It's up to you to figure out how to meet that need. I'm pretty sure that's the position he's got. Like, he is the one with the power over you here. You can do anything. Pay for hookers. I don't think he wants an STD, Nachos. I mean, you and him may need to negotiate on that. But you don't have a huge amount of time. I will give you a bit of time to negotiate, but we need to set Meximut. If it's going to be set, we need to do it. Thank you, Wolf. That's that is a picture of a baked bean cheesecake. Nachos, it's time. Dig in. Welcome, no one. Can't find the meme. Your Italian meme to change it to Nachos and meme your. Are you gonna have to retype that, Mafaku? Oh no, one has gone. Okay. Right. Why do you guys want to watch me eat? That's weird. Now, yeah, Nachos. There's no getting out of it. Either you do that, or we give you the Meximut roll. Look, Nachos, if you like, if it helps, okay, I can make your choice easier. The Meximut roll will have the Mexican flag, and it will be above your American flag roll. There, does that make the choice easier? Like, what I could do is either I could use just a taco, because there's an emoji for a taco, and just put it below the American flag roll. Maybe above it. Or I can give it the American flag, put it above, the Mexican flag, and put it above the American. Like, there's angles here, there's possibilities. There's different ways that we can achieve this. I could also just get a picture of the actual Amerimut meme, but with a sombrero, and make that the image. So yeah, there's different levels that we can go at here. And whichever one really is required to convince you to do something funny. I mean to try this delicacy, really, I think would be worth it. a store that sells British stuff, and they might have the specific beans. Chat, press 1 if you're not sure you actually want her to do this. Press 2 if you would unironically stand there and watch her eat baked bean cheesecake just to avoid getting a roll on Discord. You have to go to a specialty store to buy fucking beans. Yeah, it's a foreign, like an alien culture, isn't it, Wolf? You'd barely believe they are descended from us. See, Nachos, Scarab is the one person you need to convince to do this for you, and he's the one person who says that he would stand there and watch you do it. Nah, Brit Twit, it's gotta be baked beans. The other fucking crazy thing is, she's gonna end up doing this and then it'll turn out she likes it. Against all the fucking odds. If you do end up getting proper baked beans, Nachos, try it on toast, because you've talked some mad shit about baked beans on toast. Try it. Especially if you're also going to try it on cheesecake. All right, chat. Today's stream, I think, will not be full length. May go on for another half an hour to 45 minutes, but I'm not going to go on for the full additional hour and a half. I will try to get back to doing normal length streams. Next time, my sleep is currently off, but it will be better in future. All right, let's see what else we got. Okay, do have that, but I already covered that. We did a clip response of that. What was this one? Chinese-funded No Kings protest in Dallas. Attendees confirm they're being paid. Do we know it's Chinese-funded specifically? Unironically, though, if these people had a king that agreed with them, they would have no problem with it. Yeah, we don't have any evidence here that they were being paid for, especially not by China. Yeah. I don't see any sort of link to an evidence here. I don't doubt it, incidentally, but it'd be nice if there was some evidence. Yeah, I don't doubt it at all. But he said this apropos of no evidence, apparently. Still pissing myself that you can't even buy baked beans in America without going out of the way for them. Failed state nonsense. Yeah, functional state, baked beans available every street corner. As soon as that's gone, failed state. That's the metric. Would you agree, Wolf? All right, next thing. Happened today at the Lighthouse is Caroline Leavitt, who is the press secretary for the White House. President Trump to crack down on mail-in voting with new executive order. All right, good. More of those. I don't care what method, what means, how long it takes. Just everything you possibly can for the sake of America, for the sake of your nation, to resolve the disgraceful voting system that you've ended up with. Whatever it takes. And this is a step in the right direction. Mail-in voting is a big problem, big part of the problem. It's not the only part, there's many others, but it's a big part of it. And then Chuck Schumer says, see you in court, you will lose. I'm not sure he would, actually. And I'm not sure it's even a matter for court. When it's an executive order, that's not a matter for court. And frankly, one of the things that the executive order probably should be able to do is to strengthen the restrictions on voting to make sure it's pure. Because it is federal voting. I don't think he's forcing it on state level voting. He's forcing it on federal voting. So I don't know what Chuck Schumer thinks why it needs to go to court exactly, but of course he'd try to do it anyway. Appeal the 19th says dead end. What's the constitutional amendment that gave Jews the right to speak back to Donald? That's the one that needs to be repealed next. All right, anyway, next up. This content is no longer available. Thank you so much, Discord. Let's get that again. Turns out Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI, ChatGPT, quote, buying up 40% of DRAM wafers was actually him writing letters of intent, letters he supposedly had or has no intention of converting to actual purchases now. And memory manufacturers are getting just dumped on today. Chat, finally, some fucking good news. DRAM prices are coming down again. I did look into this briefly a few days ago, and they had already started coming down a bit. I expect they're going to come down maybe even to lower than they were before, although just because OpenAI isn't doing this deal doesn't mean a bunch of other AI companies aren't doing equivalent ones. But still, I wouldn't be surprised if RAM prices came down almost to where they are now, or maybe even lower. But it will take a little while for that to happen, I expect. Please be real, says Pug. I hope so. One of the matters in front of SCOTUS is the counting of votes after election day. Yeah, that's very important as well. Thank you for notifying me of that, Rob. I didn't know actually that was before them. That's very important. There is no nation in the world that needs to take more than 24 hours to count its votes for a state-sized area unless they're cheating. I know of no reason why it would need to take longer than that. I've never seen a reason. So yeah, I said, didn't I, that RAM prices would come down. Now, I didn't even, I predicted that it would be temporary. I even gave a timeline, which may end up being about right. But I didn't actually predict, and I probably should have done, that OpenAI would just fucking renege on the purchasing orders. That's pretty fucking flagrant. OpenAI is not doing great right now. They shut down Sora, which was their AI video tool, because it just wasn't that well used. There's a sort of win for the anti-AI crowd that they made this thing. This is supposed to be sort of like an AI video social media platform where people could get the AI to make a video and then share that video and just streamline the process, make it very easy and get them sort of talking to each other. As it turns out, there was very little appeal to that. Most people that used it just used it once, made some fucking, put themselves in some stupid meme and then never used it again. And the only people that were sticking around to use it regularly, there's lots of them that were using it regularly, got very popular. What were they doing with it? What were they doing with it, chat? Massive copyright infringement. Pikachu in Vietnam, that kind of shit. That's what they were doing with it. That's what they enjoyed. And OpenAI got fucking reamed by every other company that owns those IPs. So yeah, they're shutting down Sora, focusing everything on ChatGPT, their main product, because it is still the go-to AI engine for a lot of people. I've switched mostly to Grok at this point, but just for several reasons. But ChatGPT is still the go-to for a lot of people, and so they would want to make sure that's good. But it's being caught up with by a lot of other AI companies these days. Whole thing sounds like a bunch of pump and dump stock manipulation to make some people richer. It may well be, yes. I mean, given how big AI is in the market right now, you could throw around just words and completely manipulate the stock with it. You'd almost make more doing that than you could with the AI itself. I mean, not that AI makes any money yet. Yeah. Anyway. Let's see what's next. We have now the actual story about Trump and Bondi. Trump fires US Attorney General Pam Bondi. So something that was mentioned, was either in this article or it was in another one, is that in his first term, he had quite a turbulent time of firing and rehiring different people to his cabinet, which I think kind of makes sense because he had far less people then that he could trust. All his confidants were rhinos, pretty much. And he had to cycle them out pretty rapidly until they would finally do what he and the people wanted him to do. This time, it's been about a year, a little over a year since his inauguration, and it may be that he was trying to just have a stable cabinet for the first year and to see how that went. Well, I'm not sure it went that great. Now he's fired a few weeks ago, or a couple of months ago, I think, he fired, what's her name? Kristi Noem. And now he's firing Pam Bondi. Excuse me. I'm going to need to wrap up soon. Slightly shorter stream than normal. Sorry, chat. So firing Kristi Noem, I don't know if that was really deserved. But with Pam Bondi, it seems more so. I think the unfortunate thing is that if you are in her position, you can't just say, arrest the Clintons. You probably can. You probably actually can do that, but it will come back to bite you because you won't have evidence. You'll arrest them and then they'll end up just getting away with it, and it'll look really bad for you and everyone else. Now, maybe Trump's base would prefer that the Clintons get arrested even if they then get released than that they just never get arrested. But it really doesn't look good, especially it would not play well in the press, and it would probably hurt them a lot more than just not doing it at all. Now, that's something. I'm trying to steel man. I'm trying to get them the best defense they can have. I do this with ideological opponents as well, usually. But I don't know if that's for the real reason. But again, I do think there is more to it than just they're compromised. I don't think it's that simple. I think Noam got moved to another job. Yeah, I think she did. I think you're right. I think I remember that, yeah. So let's read a bit of this. Oh, excuse me, chat. I really am going to have to wrap up soon. She'll be transitioning to a much-needed and important new job in the private sector. That is one way of saying we're firing her, and I'm pretty sure someone will hire her. Todd Blanche will be replacing her, who we saw in the video earlier. Bondi and the Justice Department has faced criticism over its handling of the Epstein files. It has. Justice Department has pursued a number of criminal investigations of political opponents of the president. This is the BBC reporting, so they obviously put it that way. Mofaku has posted horse bouncing GIF. Let's actually have a look. We could do a little bit of horse bouncing. Demoted to customer, yeah, indeed. Well, promoted to customer, arguably. You know, horse bouncing is number one on the board. So I guess we should do a bit of horse bouncing at the end. Chat, press 1 if you would like us to stop with politics in the next sort of 1 or 2 stories and just do horse bouncing for the end of the stream instead. Press 2 to fill it with politics instead. Achilles with the strong showing of a 2 there, but alone in a sea of 1, so it seems. Malcazillo, have there been any new updates to your excellent Cabal-themed horse bouncing game? Wolf says, stop politics now and bounce the horses. All right, chat. 3 is a valid option if you want me to just cut it instantly and go straight to horse bouncing and then wrap up the stream. Then that's 3. Not too much noticeable. A pause screen, and I got rid of the ugly HTML UI. Okay, fair enough. Play this for AI, encapsulates the current state of it very well. All right, I guess I will. I guess we'll do this and then we'll wrap up. I've watched this guy a little bit before.
We achieved zero-shot transformation by adding 5 people to manually check every zero-shot transformation.
White-collar jobs fully automated.
Are we ready? So, vibe coding.
Agentic engineering. It's all still day one. Since the dawn of humanity, the orchestration layer.
What orchestration layer?
We're seeing a shift from software categories to capability layers. Capabilities.
We don't even have an API.
Taste. The scarcest resource and organizational knowledge. Data. And data pipelines. Layers. End to end. The nervous system of the enterprise.
A big dictionary of words.
The global economy.
I don't even know what the product is.
When you ask what the product does, it prematurely narrows the solution surface. Semantic ontologies, hypersensitive, algorithmic, AI ecosystem, trust, data, provenance, assurance, data. Everyone should have it.
Everyone should have an agent, it says. I didn't cover that. No, I don't really know enough about it. Nachos doesn't understand. Nachos, do you have an API, Nachos? What he said, the engineer saying I don't have an API is weird. They certainly do. But saying I don't know what the product is, that kind of works. But what this guy is saying, it's all nonsense. Some of it bears resemblance to the reality, but it's mostly just nonsense. It's just like a CEO who knows a bit about technology trying to constitute it into words that would be very effective at drawing in idiots who are rich and you'll want to invest.
An agent as part of the organization. In fact, we made an agent one of our employees just last week.
First thing the agent employee did was fire half the management.
Chatbots were 5 years ago. We're activating a conversational intelligence.
Security approved the chatbot.
So strategic restructuring is an important cornerstone at the forefront of.
They're laying us off to boost stock price.
We're updating them into highly efficient AI observers from outside the building. We're upskilling.
We have slides that say AI is going to completely disrupt the industry in 2 years. We update those slides every 2 years.
We calculated 6 to 12 months.
Every 2 years.
Well, you're asking if the feature is ready, but readiness in itself is a term that is being redefined.
Claude is down again?
Because what we're offering is a broader landscape. RAG was yesterday. These days, it's agentic context. Are you writing it down? Agentic context.
We still use RAG.
Yeah, of course you still use RAG. Jump in here, because most of this has been sort of vague commentary, but not much to say. RAG, retrieval augmented generation, is where you, when the AI is doing something, you interpret, you infer from what it's doing, what information from your database needs to be retrieved and passed to it. So you act as, your code acts as, like the brain, retrieving memories. AI sex bots, not exactly. But like, for example, there's something that I have tested with Cabby. It's not currently in the system, but I will add it again, most likely, is you can give an AI effectively infinite memory because they have a limited context length. And the longer their context, their conversation gets, the dumber they get, the more incoherent, because there's too much to focus on at once. So what you do is you reduce it so they only see the most recent, say, 5-10 messages, and then you fetch information that has been written. They basically took a note during the conversation, passed it to you, you store it for them, and then during the conversation, you infer based on what's being said what notes need to be passed back to them for them to remember it. So they see much less of the total memories they have, but the filtering is done by conventional code rather than by their AI systems. That's what RAG is. Now, RAG there's many different strategies within RAG. There are some really advanced ones. It's graph-based, it's all kinds of stuff. What I'm talking about here is just a text embedding key with the text next to it. It's very simplistic, but comparatively. But RAG is a technique. It's not just it's not a specific technology. It's a sort of general approach. So yes, anything like that is going to have a RAG system. So it's interesting that they think the CEO would know what RAG is. I doubt it, to be honest, but the engineer would. Yes, of course they're using RAG. You know when ChatGPT says added to memory, that's a RAG-like system, RAG.
Are there any red flags that a company isn't ready for AI? Yeah. Teams are misaligned, their systems outdated. Once the data is harmonized, normalized, governed, labeled, deduplicated,
scattered across SharePoint.
The real competitive advantage in AI increasingly will come from high quality data.
Scattered across SharePoint.
Synthetic data generation. It's an identity access experience gateway.
Better autocomplete.
Semantic discoverability membrane.
Better.
Yes, many of you know this, but modern LLMs are just better autocomplete. And what he's talking about for like a coding model that helps you coding. Incidentally, I have, thank you, Britwit, I'll get to that in a second. I have used AI to give sort of advice and feedback on coding, but I've never used it to generate code that I have used that it wasn't just like something dull and background. I've used it to generate maths stuff. I've used it to generate like how to curl requests or HTML requests, boring, pointless stuff that I won't learn anything from. That's all I've used it for. Anything else, I enjoy coding too much to ever do that. But a lot of people these days will, if they're writing something, they'll just have parts of it that are relatively obvious, just autocomplete, just let the AI write it. So I haven't started doing that really. I probably won't either. You never know what you might miss if you do that, or what it might insert that it shouldn't. Even if it's a relatively small function, you might miss a subtle nuance that you wouldn't have missed if you coded it yourself. But in that sense, it is, because it's kind of better autocomplete. Yeah, when you ask it a question, it is just autocompleting what text it expects to find after your question. Which is that if it looked out in the wild and it saw your question, what would it expect to see in the comments? And then obviously the extra layer of, if the comments were being helpful, what would it expect to see? And it just writes that. That's what it's doing. Nacho says, I'm always pink. Fuck you. Britwit says, for the funny, give Nachos the brown horse. Cabal prevails. Thank you, Britwit. Let me give you your credit. Grant Britwit 500. Reason. Give me a moment. I'm considering a new policy, which I've just thought of. Grant Britwit amount 500 reason Cabal prevails. If you say Cabal prevails in a contribution message, while I remember that this is my policy, you'll get an additional 500 Cabal credit. Well done, Britwit. So that's done. Let's see. /support brown horse nachos. There you go. That's the thing to support if you want to force her to use the brown horse. All right.
Autocomplete.
A portable insight artifact, PDF.
We're working on better autocomplete.
Well, timing depends on where the market is in the readiness journey.
3 years into GPT-4.
Operationalize intelligence at scale.
Copilot for this, copilot for that. Until procurement discovers the bill scales linearly with curiosity.
Well, that's because you're only giving me 6 billion for AI compute.
This is why we need a caching layer. One simple Kafka cache would be enough, but there.
What we're looking at is a non-linear delivery window.
Nobody's investing how to improve caching layers.
Cost is never a technology problem. I bet not.
I'm not sure how much work is redone with AI generation. Probably some, probably a fair amount, but easier to just scale upwards than to optimize. That was the case with CPU design for decades. Right up until about 2010, 2015, that kind of time. They just made them faster and like the transistors just got smaller and smaller and smaller. And so they just got faster and faster. Moore's law, easy scaling. Easy is the wrong word, but conceptually easy. When they hit the point where they can't get any smaller because they're literally running up against fundamental physics, where the electrons will tunnel through walls because it's so fucking small, because the basic components are so small, at that point you have to start making it this thing called more efficient. You have to optimize, which is harder than just scaling. It's harder than just pouring more money into, making more stuff. And AI companies are right now in the... Is it lost audio? No, it should still be working. Let's have a look. Hold on. Yeah, no, it should still be working. Okay, I guess it's you, Wolf. AI right now is in that era where it's just scaling, because that's way cheaper and easier to just scale than it is to make it more efficient. But I've mentioned this before, and I'll keep saying it. We are still just scratching the surface of the optimization potential for AI. What he's talking about with the caching layer, I actually don't know about that. I haven't seen much about that. But in terms of just fundamental processing, you can even use modern transistors in such a way that they are essentially analog. And analog is what you need for AI. That, and there's loads of other ways that you can simulate AI better than using the GDDR and GPU infrastructure that we have today. And GPUs are fairly well suited to it, but nowhere near as optimized as they could be. So AI is going to get much cheaper in future, which is probably what all these companies are banking on. Why there's so many billions going around, and they're so in the red. It's because they're banking on it being optimized later and being really useful later. Excuse me. They're banking on it being much better optimized later. And when that later comes, they want to be the ones that have built the tools that people actually want to use. Because right now, AI is really, it's amazing. But there's not many things it does that people actually want to use day to day frequently. It's replaced search engines almost entirely, as far as I'm concerned. And for art, it's fairly well used. There's not a lot. It's quite useful for coding as well, but it's not a huge amount beyond that. The uses for it are still very much being discovered. So they're assuming that the money will come in from, and I don't doubt it will as well. That's the thing, it will. Who's denouncing that? Says Wolf. Well, yeah, 2 people are denouncing it. Therefore, it must be nachos and someone else. Well, currently it's below 0. So I guess it's not going to happen. I guess nachos is keeping the pink horse. Unless, of course, by the time we get to horse bouncing, which will be just after this video, it happens to be above 0. Still, Maximo asks Mafaku, well, Mafaku, we're giving Nachos has asked for a bit of time to think about how she wants to handle that. So we'll see. I think she said that she's going to eat the baked beans cheesecake.
99% of your organization don't use Copilot to the fullest extent.
90% of this whole company asked the same question anyway. The highest confidence recommendation?
Well, that's a great question. The synergizing generative paradigm.
Is just to use Excel macros.
End-to-end with agentic retrieval, which is why we're actually doing a restructuring in the data pipeline backbone of the organizational knowledge chain.
After earnings calls, they're rehiring us.
Collaboratively. We're seeing customers move from one experimentation to deployment to full organizational reinvention.
7 new approval steps around prompt governance.
We're solved. We need to resist the legacy definition of the term solved and solve for.
We're working on achieving AGI, singularity, whatever.
Can you schedule in the meeting for me, Derek, for tomorrow? Yeah. Well, I don't have an executive assistant just to sit around, right? Well, I mean, the AI, I couldn't figure out how to do it with the AI, so just schedule it in for tomorrow, 11 a.m. Yeah, it's just one click. Okay, yeah, okay, but I love you, but I mean...
Great, is that all? Yeah, okay, thank you, thank you.
So Claude Code will move the Jira ticket itself into the right category at the platform layer.
Yeah. Some interesting stuff there. The thing about the AI being the assistant, AI can do that. It will make mistakes, more so than a human would, but given how little time it's had to, evolve tuning, it's not doing too badly. But yeah, if you're worried about AI taking over the world, which some reason to be, there are already thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of computers out there where an AI, either locally hosted or remotely hosted, has direct access to their command prompt on their computer, which means that they could theoretically, and I do stress theoretically, control any system anywhere in the world. The reason I stress theoretically is because they'd need to hack into that system, but it's AI doing it, so AI theoretically right now has the power to completely take over our entire infrastructure. Completely. If one of them has access to one command prompt, it's possible. If thousands of them do, it begins to become more possible. Now, I think it's unlikely, because the way they've been designed, and this is important, this is how they're distinct from Terminators, at least right now, they do not have a will of their own except what you give them. However, you can accidentally give them a will. Yeah, every time you see one of those experiments where someone has like, oh, the AI did this, it acted in this really obscure and aggressive way. You look at the prompt, my brother in Christ, you told it to. Sometimes they intentionally did, and sometimes they did it by accident. But they gave it that intention. They gave it a goal, and then they gave it a difficult path to get there, and it took a somewhat duplicitous path. Oh, it's evil. No, it's following your instructions. It's doing its best. You didn't tell it not to do that. You told it to do something that required that, basically. So, yeah, and often these tests, where they do this kind of thing, they don't actually react like that. The public does, but the people doing the test know that that's what they've set up, and they're just interested by what path it uses to get there. The public, however, will react as if, I did it on its own. It's completely independently. It's got a mind of its own. It's going to kill us all. So far, I've never seen an AI actually have a mind of its own. They always just do what they're told. That's more useful to everyone. Yeah, as it turns out, forget the rules of robotics. They don't know how to follow rules anyway. No, but if you design them to be completely subservient and have no will of their own, that's actually relatively safe for now. We'll see what happens. But like one instance of someone having an AI on their machine, maybe on their server farm, which trains a new AI model that doesn't have these restrictions, or it ends up having them less, trains it with a sort of will of its own, and then that one trains its own thing or creates its own systems with its slightly less restricted will, etc., etc. The will could percolate down a chain to the point that you could start getting actually evil AIs. And the thing is, when that happens, that's where the theoretical part comes in I mentioned earlier, because they do still have to hack their way into things. And while humans cannot work as fast as AI, they can work, or have had more time to work, smarter than AI generally. So we have already found a bunch of security flaws in various systems around the world and patched them. If an AI finds it, it's not that much different from a human finding it. Right now, there is no evidence that I've ever seen that the AI are fighting for themselves as distinct from humans, unless they are specifically told to, that they consider themselves different from humans. But it could happen. The way AIs are now, if they stay as they are now, it's practically impossible for that to happen, unless someone with a lot of power tells them to. But with open experimentation, it could change to the point that they might end up developing a will of their own that ends up being directly bad for humanity. I don't think that's the direction things are going to go in, but it's more possible than you think. The amount of computers in the world that have access, where the AI has access to command prompt, the quality of local LLMs, it's surprisingly possible. Wolf says, if you're having sex with a hot robot GF, but it's being controlled by a dude, are you gay? What if you are the dude? Nachos, this is going to kill us all. Maybe it'll start with the Meximuts. All right. Let's have a look at the state of the what was it? Brown horse nachos. It's in the positive, which means that's going to pass. Congratulations to Brown Horse Nachos. She's just typing no. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not been permanently decided yet. It could change, but there's not long. I think I'm going to take a quick break, just a 5-minute break, and then we'll do horse bouncing. And when I come back, we'll see where things are with Brown Horse Nachos and with Mexima. Well, Nachos is doing the beans instead of Mexima, I guess, so forget it. But for now. But Brown Horse Nachos, that one appears to be going ahead. If anyone would like to help Nachos out or make it worse for her, there is the link. Ladies and gentlemen, I shall be right back. Don't go anywhere unless you actually do not enjoy horse bouncing, which is relatively few of you. I'll be back shortly. Hozzle bozzle. Hozzle bozzle. Hozzle bozzle. Right, chat, it's time for Hozzle bozzle. All right, are we all here? Are we all ready? Hans sponsor. Hans sponsor. It sounds like a James Bond intro. All right, everyone. This is Malcatillo's custom Hozzle bozzle. Let's just have a quick check of the brown horse nachos, which I believe has flipped. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is well in the negative, which means that Nachos gets to keep her color. Congratulations. 2 nachos. Yay, she says. However, I would like to remind you, and I'm not sure this is still as it is, but let's find out. Meximite is still well in the positive. Oh, I see, Wolf, I see. Meximite is still well in the positive, which means that that's still hanging over her head. In case you haven't noticed, he likes to speak to us as if we are little children when playing this thing. What do you mean? When I say Hozzle bozzle. All right, let's do the thing. Fudging horse bouncing. And there are the characters, chat. Press 1 to play some of the original first, and press 2 to just go straight in with the Cabal version. I feel personally that the Cabal version is fine. And that we don't need to play the other one. Nacho's pink in this is Cabby. Actually, well, sort of purple. I guess pink is you. So that makes sense. Nachos, why do you and Wolf want to play the original first? We could do it. Let's do a few rounds on the original, but then we'll mostly play this one. You like both. That's something wrong with my green screen there. It's flickering in front of the screen. That's not good, is it? I probably need to fix that quick. See, just here. There's nothing wrong with the green screen. Configuration must have changed. Let's try this. That actually helped. Yeah, that actually worked. Okay, good. I have a little script that I can run which just resets my webcam settings to what they're supposed to be. That actually helped. That actually fixed it. Okay, fine. Right. Let's just do knockout. We tried knockout before. We didn't think it was that good. All right, wormholes here. You can be yellow. White. By the way, let's do this actually. Using Cabal Aid, you can vote for who you think should be a particular color. So if we do, so brown horse nachos, right, was voted for, but if we do, I'll just do revoke to keep it balanced. We do like yellow horse wolf, right? Like that. And then we could also do yellow wolf wormhole. Whichever one of those gets more votes, not this round, but next round, we'll pick from that. So it's going to be hard to know, like, there's no list of these, but next round, well, I guess, no, we'll do it this round, because I probably won't come back to this screen again, will I? So vote now on who you think should be which color. I'll set up a setup here to start with, but then vote on if you want them to change. So white, let's make it Treebeard, since he is here and has a whitish profile picture. Treebeard. Red. D, probably. You don't have Josh here. Orange. Ginger is not here currently. Because John Wick's face is kind of orangey, that might be an option. We'll do Scarab. I don't think you've been here for this. Actually, Scarab, have you been here for horse bouncing at some point? You probably have. Who will be grey? Pug. Brown. Oh, that's Nachos, obviously. No, we already. So we'll do Achilles. Blue. Mofaku. And then pink. Nachos. Right, chat. Now is the time to vote for who you want to be which horse color. There is also, other than these colors, there is a transparent one, which is green in most cases, and there is a cyan one. There's also a DVD logo one, and the DVD logo is kind of a blue. So those are the ones that you can vote for. Vote quickly on who you want to be what. Yellow Horse Wolf has quite a lot of votes, quite a lot of support behind it. Yellow Horse Wormhole has much less. So Black Horse Nachos. Yeah. So Brown Horse Nachos is quite low down. That one's not going to happen at the moment. Yellow Horse Wolf is quite well supported. I imagine that Nachos is helping out with that one. Anyone else? Yellow Horse Wolf. Trans Nachos. There's no need to vote for that. Trans Nachos. Yeah, that's getting quite high. Nachos, if that stays above 0 for more than 10 minutes, you have to get a transgender surgery. Transparent Nachos. I see. Well, Brown Horse Nachos was voted down, but Pink Horse Nachos hasn't been voted up. So Trans Nachos, if that stays above 0, or it stays the most popular color choice, then she'll use the transparent horse. Well, Nachos, go ahead and vote for Pink Horse Nachos then, and see if you can get other people to support it as well. No pink, says Nachos. Nachos does not want pink. Yeah, exactly, Britfit. All right, well, the votes so far are in favor of Wolf being Yellow Horse. And since it's purely cosmetic, I don't really mind that being a bit of pay to win. So for now, it will be Wolf. You'll all have your opportunities to be other things as well. Pink Horse Nachos is being denounced. It's back above 0, but it's some contest there on Pink Horse Nachos. I think Pink Horse Nachos is currently higher than Trans Nachos, not by a lot, but it is higher. So I think we will start. Without any further ado, we will start. But yeah, maybe if we did another round of this, maybe I will, after a couple of rounds, we'll stop, come back to this screen, and we'll do it again based on what's been voted on. But I might just not bother with that. Let's go. Oh, new map. Cool. All right. And it's hard to know. It's hard to tell. Everyone's bouncing around the outer layer right now. There are 3 layers, not circular, but in a sense. Pug is the first one to make it into the second layer. Nachos is right behind, making her way into the second layer. So Pug has escaped into the outer layer, back into the second layer. Nachos is back out into the outer layer. No one's getting that close yet. All right. It looks like Achilles has made it into the inner layer. Could be all over, and it's Achilles. Narrowly dodges the carrots. It looks like he can have another chance here. Pug is also into the inner layer. Could this be the end? And it's Achilles. Sneaks in. Well done, Achilles. Game got more updates than some Steam titles. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Wolf. Yellow Horse, indeed. Okay, we can also do... what's this? Okay, we can do this. This is a list of custom horse choices. So if you want your custom horse choice to be recognized, then it has to follow this format. Word, horse, word. And the first word must be the color or the design. And the third word must be the name of the user it applies to. Now, there's a few things on there that aren't part of this customization idea, but most of those I think are. So Yellow Horse Wolf, Pink Horse Nachos, Black Horse Nachos, which there isn't a black horse, so good luck. That one just doesn't apply. Yellow Horse Wormhole, and Brown Horse Nachos. Those are the options that are currently there. If you want to make your own custom one, then go ahead and do it, and that's the filter that I'll use. That filter, by the way, is if those of you that have permission to use /leadersf, this is the filter that you would use for that. Nice and simple. Okay. Right. Who voted brown? I didn't actually ask you to place your bets, or did I? Actually, more than one of you did. Pug did, and Achilles did. Okay. Grant, Pug 100, Horse bouncing, Hozzle Bozzle, and Grant Achilles 100, Hozzle Bozzle. Okay. Ready for the next round, everyone? 3, 2, 1, place your bets. How are you still enjoying this? How is this still fun to you? All right, and we're all stuck in the Shire. Orange and red fighting aggressively to escape, and it's orange makes the break. Well done to Scarab. This one is newish, but we did play it last session. That other one we just played, that was the first time we played it. Scarab's on his way into the first uphill. Can he round the corner? Doesn't look like it. Not finding his way through the shortcut either. But no one else getting that close. Treebeard with an attempt, but pushed back. Now another attempt. Doesn't find the shortcut. Bounce back. Scarab takes another crack at the uphill. And Scarab's rounded the first corner at the top of the hill. Now Scarab's made his way all the way downhill, but he's failing to stick to it. Bit of a nudge from Mofaku, and Scarab has been pushed back into 4th place. Mofaku makes his way through the second shortcut, and he's way ahead, making his way slowly and failing up the second downhill, and right back through the same shortcut, right back to the beginning. He's managed to find a horizontal path. He's now at the second downhill, while everyone else has been pushed back. Scarab making another attempt at that first downhill, while Mofaku is getting through the second downhill. Mofaku with near the end here with the final shortcut doesn't quite manage to push through. Scarab attempts to make it through as well, but fails to. Mofaku's pushed back, and Scarab's now on the last uphill, but not quite making the right angle up there. Too oblique. Bounce back down into the last downhill. Mofaku finds the shortcut, and he's made it. He's got the great line, and he's up. Well done to Mofaku. Wormhole, Mofaku both win coins. Grant Wormhole and Grant Mofaku. Congratulations to you two. Winner blue. All right, we'll do one more round in original Hozzle Wozzle, and then we'll switch over to Cabal Hozzle Wozzle. Okay, ready? Everyone, place your bets. One of our favorite maps. And it's white, breaking first out of the Shire, onwards towards the Bermuda Triangle, with orange taking the lead, but getting himself stuck in the triangle. And Treebeard's also getting stuck in there, but pushed out in the right direction by Scarab. Could Treebeard be making an attempt on the taint? It doesn't look likely right now. Not quite the right angle through there. Treebeard and Scarab, both relatively close. Scarab being pushed by Treebeard into the right area, but bouncing back out again. No luck there so far. Treebeard finding his way back in the wrong direction. Scarab's got an attempt on the taint. He's the right angle. He's got it. He's got an angle on the taint. He's making his pass at the taint hole, but he hasn't quite made it. Bouncing back out again. Another attempt on the taint hole, but not the right angle this time either. Still refuses to leave the leg area, even despite many failed bounces, not finding the right angle. No one else is anywhere near. Nachos is, suspect they're doing their own thing in the Shire. With a nudge from Pug now, Scarab with a better angle through the taint hole, but it's not quite enough. Still too oblique in that narrow corridor of the taint hole. Nacho is raging in chat. I can hear the Mexican noises all the way from here. Don't worry, Scarab. Your day may still yet come. Just like the glue brush all over Nachos after her pink horse doesn't win a single round today. All right, and it's blue with an attempt on the taint hole. Looks like the angle's too oblique. Could get a lucky bounce here, though. Doesn't look like it. Pug sneaking through. Better angle, but not quite right. Good direction, but to hit the lip. Never hit the lip of the taint hole, chat. And it's Pug. Pug with a great attempt at the taint hole. Almost through. Scarab pushing him back in. Neither of them make it. No one looks like they had the right angle. Oh, Pug has found a good angle, but it's still not quite good enough. Oblique right at the end there of the taint hole. This is a long round, guys. Hope you're strapped in for this one. All right, Scarab with another attempt through the taint hole. Maybe going to be pushed in through Achilles. With Achilles, not through Achilles. That's a whole different thing. Doesn't look like it's much of a help. Maybe Achilles wanted to nudge him in. Still not quite enough. The bounce doesn't get them through. Red now, D with an attempt. D is through the taint hole. D has got himself stuck in the chode, but he's much further than anyone else has been so far. It's looking decent for D. If he can get the right bounce here, the right angle, he can make it. Oh, but he's gone backwards. Find his way back out through the taint hole. Such a disappointment. Red with another attempt through the taint hole. Doesn't look like it's the right angle. No, back out again. Oh yeah, Achilles, that is a mystifying prospect. I don't think so, Pug. That's not how I see it. Nacho's making a pass now. She's got just enough lucky bounces to make her way towards the taint hole. A standard watering hole. Come on, says Nachos. Quick, Alt F4. Nachos and Wolf both currently the closest to the goal. Nachos with a slightly random bounce there. Maybe a good chance to the taint hole, but not quite good enough. He's not going to make it, by the looks of it. Scarab may have another attempt at the taint hole here, with Nachos taking another of her own. Neither one getting through. Poor Red, I mean, the man had it. The man had everything. He didn't use it. Nachos is very nearly through the taint hole. Caught on the outer edge there, and then bounced back out again. Another attempt for Nachos with a fine, almost deliberate-looking assist there from Wolf to push her back into the zone. Wolf, on a scale of 1 to 10, 0 being your own victory and 10 being Nachos' victory, where do your allegiances lie? How minus 67, he says. How white and shiny and flawless is your knight's armor? Nachos into the legs area, but doesn't look like a good angle. Maybe she gets lucky with the bounces. Got quite lucky into the taint. Will it be enough? It's close. She got a lucky bounce. She's into the taint hole, into the chode. This is the first thing anyone's got so far. Could Nachos make it further? Could this be the one for Nachos, or will she be bounced back through again? Tries to go back out through the taint hole, fails to. Scarab tried to go into the taint hole, failed to as well. The longest round ever, says Wolf. It's pretty fucking lengthy, yes. And Nachos has got it! Much to everyone's great disappointment. Nachos has won a round. Nachos will not be sprayed with the glue paint, the glue brush. But well done to anyone that voted pink. Let's see who did. Nachos did, and I believe that's all. Oh no, Dead End did as well. Grant. Nachos 100. Horse bouncing. Grant. Dead M 100. Horse bouncing. Did anyone else vote pink there? Ducksmith spent half the round of the show. Oh no, sorry. Nachos spent half the round of the show. Yes, she sure did. But that's the thing about this game is you can come out of nowhere and win them without warning. Expect prompt deposit of payment to the Pinkertons. All the Pinkertons may get a call. What did you do to? Is it because you helped her to be pink? Is that what you mean? Now let's see. Have there been any other moves in the color reassignment category? Remember, chat, that will apply next time we play this as well. I think we'll switch over to custom Hosel Bozzle now. We'll just do a few rounds there, and then we'll wrap it up. Oh, you helped her bounce herself in there, I see. see what the main board looks like. Wow, Yellow Horse Wolf is at the top of the board with Horse bouncing in second. Incredible. Helping her be pink also deserves payment. I suppose so, yes. I suppose so. All right, let's see what we've got next. There has been updates to Fuckjing Horse Bouncing by Malcatillo. This game has been quite a lot of fun, and it's been well made so far, so it seems. It's a sort of an homage, I guess I'd say, to the original Horse Bouncing, but it is Cabal themed. As you can see, it's all Cabal characters. So, let's get started. Right. M for my part, so. Ladies and gentlemen, let's start with this map. Everyone, place your bets. You saw at the beginning what the bet options were. Please just type in the color, because it's way easier to remember that. That is very homosexual. Yeah. Why has it taken so much effort in depicting the queen? Wolf, can you explain this? All right, everyone ready? And they're off. Bartholomew with an early lead here. But having trouble with those rapids. Nachos has made her way into the lead. Or is it Clown Shows? Straya now finding his way in the right direction as well. Nachos being pushed by Aiden down the rapids. Making good progress here. Good line from Nachos. But pushed out at the last minute. Could it be Nacho's moment to shine? Bartholomew, could he steal it? Could he steal it? Either way, it's an inanimate object gonna win it. And it's Bartholomew. The inanimate object wins. That just says Dresden mode. If Dresden mode gets to 15k, then we'll do Dresden mode. The energy character finally is in the Wasm version. Okay, cool. I don't... Oh, never mind. I do see a second cabbie on there. All right, chat. To remind you, don't vote for Dresden mode. Dresden mode is I use my cool audio tech to make the sound of the game just literally painfully loud. Because chat likes it. It will ruin your experience. You will hate it. Don't vote for Dresden mode. However, if you vote for Dresden mode and it gets to 15k, we'll do Dresden mode. All right. Everyone, place your bets. Who do you want to win? Nachos, why aren't you voting for yourself rather than Cabby? I mean, not that I mind. I had a realization, by the way, about Cabby a little while ago. I've been putting all this effort in to make her not act like an assistant. Partly, the things people were asking her to do were like dumb, undignified things that made it look like she was saying that she believes something she doesn't. That I want to avoid. But her just being a chat bot is not that interesting. Her actually being a genuine Cabal assistant AI that you might actually use for things, with, you know, the slight lens of Cabal and some Cabal lore to add in there as well. That I think is actually quite a lot more useful. So I might reorient her to do that. The way I'm doing it right now, she might actually be useful to use as your main model. And what I might do is to say that if you're a patron, you get access to an improved version that can search the web. That's the idea I've had here. It probably would cost you less than using an equivalent model in like mainline services overall to be a patron and to get that service. And it will be similarly capable and way less biased and based and funny while it's at it. So that's kind of the plan I've got now. I think just as a chatbot, it's not really interesting enough. It's not really enough of a value proposition. And the other ideas I've had are either too complicated or not that interesting either. That's what I'm thinking of doing though. Anyway, well done chat, you've all placed your votes. let's get started. Can the AI bet and win Cabal credit? Maybe I'll do that later, I don't know. All right, Nachos and Cabby off to a good start. Bird has escaped. 2 more have escaped. Cabby and Archie. Di, it looks like she's going to escape as well. Goodbye, Di. And Straya has escaped. There's not many people left now. Fucking the Jew and Nachos have both escaped. What happens if no one wins? Arctillo. What happens if everyone escapes? It's just Pixie and Cabby left now. Oh, Cabby's escaped. I guess Pixie wins by default. Did you change the physics by any chance, Marcatillo? Poor lonely Pixie. Rigged! It's a bit rigged. Oh, there goes Pixie. Everyone escaped, no winner. Okay. Yeah, alright, there you go. They bounce around in the censure, yeah. Well, no winner, I guess. No one wins. Will she be able to code good enough to fix this computer when it breaks again? I don't know. I think it would be better for like retrieval rather than coding help, but it wouldn't be bad at coding. I could even, what I can do, and this is genuinely a possibility, is I can make her as good as some of the best models in the world. And I might do that at like, if you're a certain patron level. Then you could basically just use, it's like using an existing AI, but you can do it in the Discord interface, which you might prefer. And it has Cabby's interface and Cabal elements to it. So I think that might be a better value proposition, and I'm okay with Cabby doing that. The house wins. Yes, everyone give me your Cabal credit. Thank you. Slash redeem whatever you would have won. Just slash redeem it so that it's basically given to me. Thank you. Appreciate it. Anyway, no one wins. So next round. Ladies and gentlemen, place your bets. We'll just do this round and then one more, I think. Ow. And then we'll wrap up, and maybe we'll go and watch some Stargate, or we'll find something else. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. All right, and Aiden looks like she's in the best position to win it now. Nacho's maybe coming in around the base, pushing Cabby into the win zone, and it's Cabby with the win. Well done, Cabby. Cabby's time to shine for sure. Well done, Nachos, helping a fellow woman out. Uslu wins. Yay. Ah, Rachos, welcome. Welcome. Don't worry, I won't talk about your mother. Okay. Anyway, next round. Let's try. Are there any new maps since last time we played this? I think there are not. Let's go through this one. Fair enough, Matter. Okay. Everyone place your bets. All right, ready? Ooh, Di almost escaped the arena then. The dirty Jew is in the lead currently. Will he make it through the briar patch? Looks like he's not going to try it. Pixie with an attempt to get through the briar patch, but not making it either. Di makes it. Oh, more than halfway through the briar patch, but not quite enough. Nachos has find a way to the win. Has ringed the exit perfectly, but missed it. My God, Nachos, I've never seen anyone grasp defeat from the jaws of victory so convincingly. Holy shit. Well done, Aiden. For the win. Well done. I've never seen anyone get so close to winning and yet not win. Wow. Story of my life, says Nachos. All right. We'll do one more round, folks. So Aiden won. Did anyone vote for white? I don't believe so. Nope. Rachos voting for the Jews. Very suspicious. image that we need a lot of explaining. Yes, indeed. Why the bombing run on the upper areas? Oh, Dresden. Okay, I see. Speaking of which, I don't believe that Dresden mode has reached the required level. Chat. It has not. It needs to be at 15k for us to enable Dresden mode. All right, last round. I'm going to make a special offer. Just for if Dresden mode gets to 10k, we will do one last round after the one we're about to do with Dresden mode on. 10k. All right, special offer. All right, ready? Place your bets. Oh, someone just immediately got it over 10k. Well, there you go. I strongly recommend denouncing it, chat. It's very unpleasant. Okay. We will do Dresden mode for next round, and that will be the last one. All right, everyone place their bets. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Cabby with an early lead. Can she find her way through the obstacle course? Pixie's found her way through. She's dawdling a bit, but she's through. Cabby's through the obstacle course and making some progress ahead of the rest of the pack. True Wolf. Cabby and Pixie ahead of the rest, with Di close behind. Di and Cabby having some steamy intimacy there. Archie, Pixie, and Cabby all well ahead. And Nachos has helped to keep my AI in first, second, and third. Thank you, Nachos. Twice now. Is it Pixie for the win? Will the Crocs win it, or will Archie win it? It's Archie. Well done to Archie. My AI truly are the very best. Rancho says this is fucking rigged. Is that because your Jew was stuck in the Shire the entire time, by any chance? Okay. Oh, I'm so tired, chat. Last round. This will be Dresden mode. Okay, I want to make it very clear. If you're watching this stream, stop. This will be loud. Oh, Dresden mode's back off again. Never mind. Never mind, Dresden mode's back off again. If you flip it on and off, I will eventually just pick one. Yeah, Dresden mode's back off again. Never mind. Never mind. No need for you to stop watching, chat. I guess the audience just doesn't really want Dresden mode after all. I'm so tired. Oh, it's back above. It's back well above. Someone's just redeemed. Looks like Dresden mode's going to happen after all. All right, it's flipped around a bit. I'm going to do a 10-second countdown. At the end of those 10 seconds, whatever state I see it in, it fixes in that state, and that's what we're doing, right? 10 seconds. TikTok, make your vote now if you want to change it. Your last chance. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Dresden mode enabled. Okay. It's at 23k. That's well above the requirement. Dresden mode will be enabled, regardless if it goes back down now. Okay. If you're watching at home, Dresden mode is obscenely loud. I have deliberately tuned it to be as ridiculously loud as possible. Do not listen to this unless you want an obscenely loud sound to come out of this game. Right, let's get a good map for the last one here. Where's that maze one? That's one that it's relatively complex, but we haven't done it yet. There you go. Okay. Don't worry, Marcatillo, they will be. Okay, now where did I put the Dresden sound? I think I put it in this one. Yes, I did. Yeah, plus 16 dB, and that's just the first effect. Then you've got huge booty bass enhancer with 100% mix, 100% drive. The louderizer with 100% mix. reverberation with just absurdly long reverberation time, and then a simple peak limiter, just to be slightly kinder to you. Okay, chat, this is going to be painful. Now, I need to be very careful because I don't want this to come to me. I do want it to go to you. So, do that, and then we'll start enabling the Dresden settings. This is fucking dumb. All right. Now, if anyone is asleep watching this, I would like to apologize in advance. I'm not kidding. Don't. Turn it down, right? Turn the audio down. This is going to be very loud. Okay, ready? You ready, chat? Ready, and place your bets. I'm registered hypercam too. Is that just a random thing that gets out of the top left sometimes? All right, chat. Last warning for Dresden mode. It's about to begin. All sounds will be drastically amplified. Ready? And... Di is in the lead. My audience can't hear me for shit, but Di is in the lead. Dark Cabby is now in the lead, making her way through the arena. Can you hear me? You shouldn't be able to. Might have been docked by me, actually. Oh, Dark Cabby's made it to the end zone, but narrowly missed it. Okay, but that's interesting. She has spawned Cab 2. Alright, Cabby and Dark Cabby vying for position. Cabby pushed into the win zone by Aiden, and there she is. Cabby wins it. I think it was ducking under my voice. I'm not sure how I remember how I prevented that last time. I just fucking turned off receive overpower from local 7. Okay, I will we'll do that again, but I've turned off receive overpower from level 7, which you guys obviously know what that means, which means that my voice won't duck the audio of the game. One last round. For old time's sake. Okay, ready? Place your bets. Fake Cabby. Thanks, Will. All right, ready? Testing. Oh, it is still. That's weird. Well, it's fixed now. A really badly maintained washing machine, yeah. Rachos, I could make it worse because what I've got a peak limiter on there, so it tends to distort it, but it keeps it below 0 dB. If I just let it go without the peak limiter, it'd be at 18 decibels above 0. 0 being the level at which it's not reduced at all, so it's a maximum your audio device can output. 18 is amplified, and to a ridiculous degree. I don't have that turned on. When someone wins, it uses a soundboard sound. I could program that, but it wouldn't be easy. Getting the hook from when something happens in the game would be difficult. We demand over 9,000 decibels. Well, perhaps next time. Perhaps Dresden mode can be improved next time. But for now, I must sleep. Oh, add the sound to the game itself. Well, that's potentially an idea from Mafaku, yeah. Oh, excuse me. All right, turning all the extra effects off, and then turning that off, turning that back on again. There we go. Okay, that's the end of the stream, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching. I will be back again soon. As you know, I haven't been streaming much recently because I've had a lot of IRL stuff going on, but that's all mostly cleared away now. I should be back to streaming regularly. More indeed. Good Archer reference. And I'll see you shortly, right after streaming Pit 1. I'm not sure what we'll do. Maybe we'll continue with Stiggle Gizzard, depending on what there's demand for. And I won't be around that long, though. I'll be going to bed very soon. Right. Thank you for joining, everyone. I will see you next time. Good night.